drawn here, made here, for here by our team.
But who on his team? I've got that story coming up.
I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Scott Jagow. What do Hancock and Kelly think about what the president's doing in Chicago? We'll have that coming up.
Kirkwood council members vote down an expensive expansion of parking tracking technology.
Later this morning, authorities in Ellisville will discuss developments in a 40-year-old cold case.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayers. Sunny but cool today with a high of 78.
At the Tone, it's 6 o'clock. Sports on the way at 6:15.
Winner of the National Edward R. Murrow Award for breaking news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Thousands of protesters turned out in Chicago after President Trump's latest threat to send federal troops into more U.S. cities. Illinois' Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth tells CBS's Face the Nation.
Let's make it clear. The President of the United States essentially just declared war on a major city in his own nation. This is not normal. This is not acceptable behavior.
Correspondent Nicole Killian from Washington.
The president was asked Sunday about that meme that seemed to suggest going to war against the city of Chicago. He told reporters that we are not going to war. He simply wants to try to clean up some of these cities.
ICE agents have begun raids in Massachusetts now. It was a deadly rush hour in Jerusalem. Israeli officials say at least 6 people were killed at a bus stop at a busy intersection there. They say a police officer and a civilian shot and killed 2 attackers. The BBC's Yolande Nell reports from Jerusalem.
Hamas, who have put out a statement praising this attack, saying that it was carried out by 2 Palestinian resistance fighters, but it has not claimed responsibility for the attack.
President Trump's offering up a new proposed deal for a ceasefire and hostage release between Israel and Hamas. No word on details, but the day before he issued what he called his last warning to Hamas to accept the terms. He says Israel already has. Former U.S. Assistant Secretary of Defense Larry Korb.
If Hamas doesn't agree to it, I think then Trump will continue to provide support to Israel. In fact, they even increase it.
Americans are weighing in on our economic system.
For the first time since Gallup has been asking Americans, fewer than half of Democrats view capitalism positively. Overall, Americans are more positive toward capitalism than socialism. They're also overwhelmingly positive towards small business and free enterprise. But they're far more negative toward big business, with just 37% rating it positively.
CBS's Matt Piper. The big winner at last night's MTV Music Video Awards, Lady Gaga. She took home 4 Moon Men.
Being an artist is an attempt to connect the souls of people all over the world.
Ariana Grande won 2, including Video of the Year, and rapper Youngblood led a tribute to Ozzy Osbourne. Aerosmith's Steven Tyler sang 2. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit Progressive.com today.
It is now 6:03, and in downtown St. Louis, we've got clear skies and 48 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. Illinois leaders are pushing back hard on President Trump's plan to fight crime and illegal immigration in Chicago with National Guard troops.
KMOX Democratic analyst Michael Kelly says military troops on city streets isn't the way to tackle those issues long term, but that's not what his opposition party should focus on.
Unfortunately, Democrats are pushing back on the military thing because it is ridiculous. But what would make sense is for us to continue to highlight that if he really wanted to fix crime, he could be funding it. But in fact, he's cut the money that goes to crime fighting so that he could have a tax cut.
Republican analyst John Hancock says the president's within his rights for now to put troops on the streets, but eventually the courts will get a hold of this.
Is it an appropriate use of the U.S. military forces to essentially become police forces in American cities. And I think that's a question that the courts have said no, and I think will continue to say no.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is saying a hard no. He says the president is threatening to go to war with an American city. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, a retired Army combat veteran who also sits on the Senate Armed Services Committee, says President Trump essentially just declared war on Chicago, with his social media post writing that Chicago will find out why it's called the Department of War. Duckworth tells Face the Nation it is unacceptable and not normal.
We don't have any indications of them getting ready to send troops into Chicago. In fact, I was out at Great Lakes base yesterday, Naval Training Base, and they were able to confirm that the only assistance they've been requested to provide is just office space for ICE.
Duckworth was asked if there's an opportunity to work with the Trump administration to avoid making the situation worse. Senator Duckworth said the administration has not responded to any of their requests.
America is not for everyone. Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt, in a long speech this weekend at the National Conservatism Conference, said it's not just illegal immigration that's a problem, but legal immigration as well. Who is it for? He says the son and daughters of the Christian pilgrims who settled in this country.
All of them will be astonished to hear that they were only fighting for a proposition. They believed they were fighting for a nation, a homeland for themselves and their descendants. They fought, they bled, they struggled, they died for us. They built this country for us. America, in all its glory, is their gift to us, handed down across the generations. It belongs to us. It's our birthright. It's our heritage, our destiny. If America is everything and everyone, then it is nothing and no one at all.
Immigration, according to Schmidt, threatens to ancient fabric of nations and said the H-1B visa program for skilled foreign workers has kneecapped white-collar workers. His speech was titled, "What is an American?"
There's a renewed interest in a local murder case from 1980.
The St. Louis County prosecutor and Ellisville police chief are expected to discuss the murder of a Dairy Queen night manager from 45 years ago. Margaret Maria Walsh was found by the owner. She had been shot in the head. About $125 had also been stolen and the office ransacked. No one has ever been charged in the case, even though it's been reopened several times. KMOX will be at the news conference and we'll have updates for you throughout the morning. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Longtime Bigfoot monster truck driver Dan Runte, considered by many to be the greatest of all time, has died at the age of 56. Runte passed away Friday night in a motorcycle accident in Pacific, Missouri. A post from Bigfoot 4x4 Inc. said there isn't another person who jumped further, went faster, and won more races and championships. He was known for his dedication, professionalism, and positive attitude towards fans and sponsors.
Now a KMOX follow-up from Kirkwood.
A contract to deploy technology to track parking spot usage in downtown Kirkwood gets voted down overwhelmingly by the city council. Councilman Mark Zimmer.
Is it worth the bang for the buck?
Mayor Liz Gibbons notes that Kirkwood is already planning to write more parking tickets and is also securing separate parking spots for downtown area employees.
I think we need to let the things that we've just done have some time before we spend some money like this.
Multiple council members called the idea nuts. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
From the business desk sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, Spectrum says felony attacks on its telecom networks nationwide have gone up astronomically. In Missouri, they've increased 200% year over year. Criminals are cutting and stealing wire cables, disrupting service to homes, businesses, and hospitals and 911 dispatch centers. The $25,000 reward is open to people in 10 states, including Missouri and Illinois. It's for information leading to arrests and conviction in cases of vandalism and theft. Jefferson County announced that 2 men have been arrested for stealing communication wire there.
Well, Total Information AM goes on the air at 5, but we are now online starting at 6, YouTube, X, and Facebook. If you want to catch us, we're on video as well. It's 6:08, traffic and weather next.
Now, 90 and 60. A look back at the latest St. Louis City SC match. Presented by Woods Basement Systems, Inc.
Ball up, back to Leuven. Pompey straight on. FC Dallas just moments really after Pompey's goal ties it up 1-1. follow, lifts it. Oh, what a crazy shot from McSorley. Almost can openers it in. Falling with a scissor-like kick, but it's stopped by a diving Jackson. St. Louis City and FC Dallas will finish in a tie.
Up next, City SC faces the Montreal Impact Saturday night. Kick at 6:30 on Y98.
Tripping over uneven concrete? Don't replace it, raise it with concrete leveling. Call the all things basement-y experts, Wood Basement Systems, for a free estimate at 618-249-5503 or learn more at woodsbasementsystems.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's check in with Roger Brand, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got some trouble down south, Tom. I mentioned it at the top of the hour. I couldn't see it, but now I can. This crash northbound 55, just immediately south of Highway Z. The left lane's blocked. It looks like it's also on the right shoulder. Northbound 55, as a result of this, is a solid jam back through to almost Highway A as you're coming north on 55. So just be prepared. Let's call it midway between A and McNutt, but bumper to bumper, just crawling because only one lane's getting through. This is in the construction zone, obviously. And then northbound 55 is still slow south of Butler Hill up to Mattis, where that crash is on the right shoulder. Have a crash on eastbound AT, east of Highway O. Emergency crews on the scene, a little bit of a delay there. Crash off the roadway, westbound 70 near Lucas Hunt. I'm not seeing any delays there. Double B at Double U in the Bowling Green area. There's a crash with injuries blocking the roadway there as well. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Let's check in with AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer for the latest on some cool weather today.
MOX AccuWeather, plenty of sunshine today, but still a bit on the cool side. We'll have a high of 78. Clear to partly cloudy tonight. It'll be quite cool with a low of 54. Starting to warm up tomorrow, partly sunny with a high of 83. Then mostly sunny and very warm with a high of 89 on Wednesday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got clear skies and 48 degrees. The weather sponsored by Chuck's Boots, the Midwest's largest boot stores. Boots for every walk of life. Rugged work boots, stylish fashion, comfortable hiking boots, cowboy classics, uniform boots, and motorcycle gear. Chuck's Boots in Fenton and St. Peter's, chucksboots.com.
It's 6:12. Missouri lawmakers are returning to the state capitol today for a special session to address two key issues: redrawing the state's congressional maps and altering the initiative petition system.
The proposed congressional map supported by Governor Kehoe and President Trump aims to create a 7-1 Republican advantage in the House by making significant changes to the 5th congressional district in Kansas City.
This map was drawn here, made here, for here, by our team.
Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe in his Twitter video a week and a half ago calling for the special session, but did his team draw the map? Missouri Democrats think otherwise. Senate Minority Leader Doug Beck.
Others have seen it weeks ago because it was drawn in Washington, D.C.
Beck references a Missouri Independent article which claims the map originated in Washington, D.C. The map, usually drawn in the Senate, did not involve Senate President Pro Tem Cindy O'Loughlin, according to one of her staffers. A staffer for House Majority Leader John Patterson said the same. KMOX has reached out to a spokesperson from Kehoe's office asking who worked on the map. Instead of naming names, the spokesperson said over text, it was several members who have extensive redistricting knowledge. KMOX asked for their names and has not yet heard back as of late Sunday evening. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Former St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones will have a new job in the spring. She has been chosen as an inaugural fellow at Washington University. This is for a new initiative, the Center for the Study of Racial Ethnicity and Equity. Jones will be a visiting fellow for the school's program for civic leaders and scholars. The Post-Dispatch reports the job involves meaningful community engagement, fostering rigorous scholarships and creative practice. The Center for the Study of Race, Ethnicity, and Equity was started 5 years ago following recommendations from the school's Commission on Diversity and Inclusion.
The wait is over. Mom's Deli has a new home that's now open on Hampton. The longstanding sandwich shop was forced to move from its original building on Jameson earlier this year. Those waiting in line for a taste are happy it's back.
How long have you been going?
Oh my gosh, like probably over 15 years at least.
15, 20
Yeah.
years at least.
Ever since I've grown up. So I'm 27, so for the last 25 years probably I've been going to Mom's Deli.
Oh, we used to go all the time. So we're happy that we're reopened.
Man, I'm 49. My parents lived right across the street from the old location. So 48 years, as soon as I could eat solid food.
Mom's Deli for now is only open Tuesday through Saturday. What hasn't changed, it still closes at 3 p.m.
Love that Mom's special. One of my favorite days was taking my kids to Mom's Deli, and when we sat down to eat, guess who was standing in line for his sandwich? Mike Shannon. He's like, hey.
The line was around the building.
Yeah, he was waiting for a sandwich just like all of us. It's 6:15. Cardinals had a good day yesterday, a 4-3 win over the San Francisco Giants, and with that, they take another series. That's 3 straight series wins for the Cardinals. They're going to be up against a tough one tonight, though. The Cardinals take on the Seattle Mariners, and they are really, really good offensively. They destroyed, and I mean destroyed, the Braves yesterday in Atlanta, 18-2. They scored 8 runs in the third inning and blasted the Braves, then scored 7 more in the ninth inning to close it out. What you have to hope for is that the Mariners are tired today because they had to travel from Atlanta all the way back to Seattle, and they'll host the Cardinals tonight. Meanwhile, we are all tired, those of us who worked at the NASCAR Cup playoff race yesterday at Worldwide Technology Raceway, but as we like to say, it's a good tired. That was a good day. It was sold out. It was packed, and they saw one of the most successful drivers of his era pull off a victory.
1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. Hamlin is within 1.25 miles of a win. He has finished second here the last 2 years. And in this young history of NASCAR Cup Series competition at Worldwide Technology Raceway, with Hamlin's pole yesterday, he made it 4 different pole sitters in the 4 years. And in just 2 turns and half a straight, he's going to make it 4 different winners in 4 years. What a run from Denny Hamlin. He has led the most laps. Hamlin wins in St. Louis and books a spot in the round of 12.
The call on NBC Sports from USA and a visit that Denny Hamlin had with KMOX in Victory Lane.
Denny, first of all, congratulations. I wanted to ask you, how is your dad doing? And in many ways, is this a tribute to him?
Yeah, he's just, fighting some health issues and whatnot. And, he's not able to really travel anymore. So just really, know he's watching at home. And I wish I was with him or he was with me. But you never know when it's going to be your last race and, or last race win. So I try to celebrate accordingly. And, my dad has certainly been a big part of me getting here. It's just a breath of fresh air that we can go into next week, not have to worry about points. We're able to more than likely race a lot harder because of that. So this is an opportunity for us to go back to back like we did earlier this season.
Knowing you had a great car, how did you get this done in the final 35 laps or so?
Well, a ton of credit goes to the team. They're the ones that gave me a fast car, and then they made it better on that last pit stop. The last time, with about 40 laps to go, we made a good adjustment to the car that allowed me to take off. And once that happened, I could feel that I had a race-winning car at that moment.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate
Denny
it.
Hamlin wins the Enjoy Illinois 300. Thomas Bjorn won the Stiefel Charity Classic at Norwood Hills Country Club. SLU beat SIUE 2-1 to win the bronze boot. And of the NFL action, the best game was the last one. Buffalo rallies from 15 points down and beats the Ravens somehow 41-40 in Buffalo. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
All right, let's open up this Underdog app and see what's happening to Monday Night Football, the Bears and the Vikings. Oh, baby. Yes, absolutely. It is Underdog. When you're talking about football, the best place to play is Underdog, and you can do that right here in Missouri. What is Underdog? Well, all you need to do is download that Underdog app. Make sure you remember to use promo code TOM, and I'll tell you why here in just a second. But millions of people are winning billions playing Underdog, and you absolutely should be next. It's so easy to do. You just choose whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats, or maybe players you don't like. But you can go ahead and choose higher or lower on stats. Touchdowns, receiving yards, etc. Get your entries right, and you can win big-time money. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code TOM. You can play with as little as $1, but use promo code TOM to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code TOM. Millions of people are doing it. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See access.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS HTML for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:21, time for traffic and weather. If you're just heading out the door, hopefully nothing slows you down. But here's Roger Brand. He's got the latest for you from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
You're going to have a little patience if you're on northbound 55, Debbie. This traffic reports the service of Glory Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty, because they're still working this crash northbound 55 just before Highway Z, just before the exit. Left lane's blocked, only the right lane's open. So traffic is at a standstill pretty much just north of Highway A in the Crystal City area all the way up to Highway Z. So a solid jam there. We still have slow traffic south of Butler Hill up to Mattis. That crash still on the shoulder there, northbound 55 as well. Once you get past that point, it looks good in the works on north of Bayless at least. North 270 is great from 55 up through Gravois, past Ladue, both directions. We had a crash earlier on the Ladue exit on the shoulder, not blocking anything. Traffic's fine there. Crash off the roadway reported westbound 70 near Lucas Hunt, but again, traffic's light, and I don't see any delays at that point either. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty, 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Sunny and cool, a high 78 today, low 54 tonight. Tomorrow, a little warmer, high 83. Wednesday, 89. Thursday, 92. Currently, it's 49 downtown.
It is 6:23, and President Trump says deploying the National Guard to Washington, D.C. reduced crime to 0 in 12 days and points to Chicago as a place where a lot of violent crime is taking place.
In a post on Truth Social, the president reposted a parody image from the 1979 Vietnam War film Apocalypse Now, featuring him as Robert Duvall's Lieutenant Colonel Kilgore, with a heading that reads, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago is about to find out why it's called the Department of War." On Friday, the president signed an executive order to rename the Defense Department the Department of War. Critics took it as a possible declaration of war by the president on the city of Chicago, to which the president responded at the White House Sunday.
We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
Sunday night, the president did say something needs to be done to combat violent crime in that city.
Chicago is a very dangerous place, and we have a governor that doesn't care about crime. I guess we could solve Chicago very quickly, but we're going to make a decision as to where we go over the next day or two.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement head Tom Homan telling CNN State of the Union the president was not talking about going to war with Chicago.
Look, I think it's worth being taken out of context. If I said we're going to war with the criminal cartels. We're going to war with illegal aliens, public safety threats that rape children, that raped citizens.
However, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is taking Trump's words seriously, telling MSNBC.
It's one that's been repeated over and over again by, tyrannical dictatorships across history, where you try to incite local population into some mayhem by sending in police or other disruptors, and then claim that there's too much mayhem on the ground, and therefore there must be troops that are sent in, and that's how you basically convert a democracy into something other than that.
Several thousand protesters marched in D.C. over the weekend, calling the Trump administration's move there tyranny and a display of authoritarian power. John Stolness, Washington.
A deal has been reached between the United States and South Korea after immigration enforcement raided a Georgia plant that automaker Hyundai uses to make electric vehicle batteries. Correspondent Julie Walker reports that South Koreans who were taken into custody will be repatriated to their homeland, while the South Korean Minister of Foreign Affairs, speaking through an interpreter at a news conference in Seoul, took offense with the ICE raid.
New polling from CBS News suggests a majority of Americans oppose Trump's deployment of National Guard troops to U.S. cities, believing it would not be effective at reducing crime, which is Trump's stated reason for doing it. Those in favor are largely Trump's Republican base and say they feel it makes them personally safer, even if they don't live in those cities. Meanwhile, opposition is mounting in Chicago over expected federal operations there, as Trump on social media appeared to threaten to send in troops like he did in L.A. and D.C.
President Trump defended his recent vows to send in the National Guard to cities like Chicago.
We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend.
A new CBS News poll finds 42% of those surveyed favor the deployment of troops to other cities beyond Washington, D.C., while 58% oppose it. Opinion is sharply split along party lines, with 85% of Republicans favoring the deployment and 93% of Democrats opposing it. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Washington.
It's 6:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
At Gamma Tree Experts, their arborists are passionate about trees. You want to work with people who care about what they are doing, but also who have the credentials. They understand trees, and they also understand how much your trees mean to you. Gamma Tree Experts have the knowledge and technical experience to provide the utmost in tree care. That's why they call them experts. Gamma Tree Experts. The Gamma staff includes board-certified master arborists, certified arborists, horticulturists, and urban foresters. Your trees are living assets that need ongoing care to thrive. And Gamma Tree Experts, we work with them at our house and have for a long time. They are committed and knowledgeable professionals that can help us protect our trees for today and future generations. In fact, they're going to take down a dead tree in our yard here in the very near future. Gamma Tree Experts, gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well,
I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and fellow window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
When you're injured on the job, you need more than just a workers' comp lawyer. When you need a fighter, you need us. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. For the people. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
It is 6:30, and right now we've got clear skies and 48 degrees downtown. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Here's Roger Brand of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom and Debbie, there's still no change on northbound 55. This crash just before you get to Highway Z is blocking the left lane. Only the right lane is getting by. So the jam goes back just north of Highway A up to Z on northbound 55. Some more folks are taking 61, 67. It is starting to back up a little bit at Highway Z as well. Folks are cutting over there. And if you do that, you can get on past the crash scene. If you get on at Z, you'll be ahead of the crash on North 55. Then you're just going to run into slow traffic coming up the hill from north of Merrimack Bottom through Butler Hill, Mattis, because of that crash that's been out there on the shoulder. At that point, it's starting to slow down as well, north of Bayless to River to Pears. So very busy for 55 drivers this morning. Northbound 270 from 55 looks great. Starting to see some slow traffic approaching Clayton Road, headed up to 64. Southbound 61 north of Wentzville Parkway down to 64. That's busy out in the Wentzville area. We still look good downtown westbound across the Poplar and Musel Veterans Bridges. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, it's going to be sunny today, a high of 78, and this is kind of our last cooler day because it starts to heat up again. I know, I'm sorry, we'll be in the 90s by Thursday and Friday. But today, 78 with sunshine, tomorrow, 83. Right now, it's 48.
It's 6:31. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker continues to push back on President Trump's threat to send in the military to Chicago.
Pritzker says he believes the intention is to incite the local population into some mayhem by sending in the police or other disruptors and then claim that there is justification to send in the military.
That is what really worries me here. And look, we've already seen it. L.A., they did do it in L.A. exactly that way. But that wasn't new to anybody, at least, again, if you look throughout history. And, of course, Washington, D.C., where I know the president and Congress has control of the federal district, so they can do whatever they want.
But Governor Pritzker tells MSNBC what President Trump is doing is illegal, and he is ready to go to court about it. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Illinois Senator Dick Durbin has concerns that the Department of Homeland Security will not allow members of Congress to see the facility at Great Lakes Naval Training Station, where some undisclosed operation is supposed to take place, possibly involving the military or ICE.
I think this is a terrible act of political theater that is underway at the expense of a lot of people and at the expense of taxpayers. The mission that President Trump dreamed up in Los Angeles cost so far $140 million to the taxpayers for him to have this little folly in Los Angeles. We don't know if he goes forward in Chicago what's going to happen. If his goal is to reduce crime, I welcome him to dedicate federal resources to stopping the flow of criminal guns from other states into the city of Chicago. That's something the president can do and will not touch.
Durbin says whatever the mission is, it will not reduce crime. He calls it political theater.
Kirkwood council members vote down an expensive expansion of parking tracking technology. KMOX told you about this last week. Councilman Al Reinecker noting a pilot test of the tech in a few parking spots was not a success.
The ones we have don't work. Why would we spend more money buying more of them?
Mayor Liz Gibbons says downtown parking should still improve through some other efforts.
We have just instituted that we are going to be enforcing our parking code, which hasn't been enforced in a long time, in downtown Kirkwood. So we're hoping that's going to free up more parking.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got your money report from Bloomberg coming up next at 6:34.
Ooh, what was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
It's 6:35. Your money report is sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
Good morning. Detroit automakers could be saving billions of dollars under President Trump's emissions rollback. The move by the president could help automakers as they shift investments into gasoline-fueled cars. The plan hasn't been finalized, but the deregulatory push is clearing the way for Detroit's legacy automakers and their rivals to reallocate billions of dollars earmarked for EVs and other costs linked to pollution rules. Apple is getting ready to unveil major upgrades to its iPhones. It's been 5 years since we've seen big design changes. The company is holding a product launch tomorrow that will include high-end versions of the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max that have new backs, giving off a fresh look to the camera areas. It's also coming out with an all-new iPhone 17 Air that will have an ultra-thin body. At the box office, it was all about scare this weekend. The horror thriller The Conjuring Last Rites debuted in first place. ComScore reports the Warner Brothers release took in $83 million. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, let's have an ice cold Budweiser. Well, I mean, we could right now if you want. I had one over the weekend. I can guarantee you that at the NASCAR race, as a matter of fact, yesterday. Really a special time. And, you know, the weekend, there was so much going on with beautiful weather and great sports. And Budweiser has always gone hand in hand with sports, with baseball, especially. They are the official beer sponsor of Major League Baseball. But it also dawned on me when I was at Norwood Hills Country Club how far Folds of Honor has gone. They had Folds of Honor Friday at Norwood Hills Country Club, a very special tribute to our fallen heroes and the families who support them. And Folds of Honor has supported military families for years. In fact, Budweiser and its partners have raised $33 million partnering with Folds of Honor. It's a 15-year partnership that continues today, and every time you buy a 12-pack of Budweiser or Bud Zero, you are giving back to Folds of Honor. Budweiser is going strong since 1876. A delicious ice-cold Budweiser was just perfect over the weekend. Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council. University of Maryland Global Campus offers more than 55 flexible online certificates that provide short-term credentials and real-world skills you can use immediately. With a range of affordable undergraduate and graduate certificates in high-demand fields like business, AI, cybersecurity, data analytics, and healthcare, you can earn credentials quickly to help advance your career. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Cardinal Cowboy here. After a coma, a miracle, and the fight of my life, I made it back to the games wearing my signature cowboy hat and jersey. Then came the baseball pants, the replica trophy, and the smiles and joy from the young fans. That's when the Cardinal Cowboy was born. Renter Garage Store knows how to bring joy too. With top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, and family service you can trust, get your free repair or replacement quote today. Forward and back. Giddy up!
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is going on 6:40, and Tom and I are looking out the window here of Studio B. And if you have a chance, just look up in the sky. The moon is out, and it is full, and it is gorgeous. So anyway, that's your good news for the morning. Hopefully the roadways are good news as well. Here's Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, most of them are. 55 is the only one that isn't so far this morning, Debbie. This traffic reports a service at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. We still got this crash. This may be a tow truck pulling up. I see a vehicle coming through the jam. Northbound 55 just before Highway Z. Left lane's blocked, only the right lane's open. North 55, solid jam back to almost Highway A. You get around that, it's still slow. South of Butler Hill up to Mattis, that crash is still out there. It looks like it's mainly on the right shoulder, but it's still heavy through that stretch. And then the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear is still bogged down in that construction area. Northbound Tesson Ferry is backed up from Butler Hill up through Kennerly. Eastbound 30 slow from Mauer to 270. North 270, some slow traffic approaching Clayton Road up through 64 right now. Southbound 61 Highway P down toward Wentzville Parkway. That's kind of at a slower pace. Other than that, the rest of these area highways are great. On the Illinois side, there are no delays whatsoever, so you don't have any issues traveling through across the downtown bridges. At 7 a.m., though, they are scheduled to do emergency repair work northbound 255 north of 5570. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And now the weather, which looks really nice, Heather's there for the next day or so.
And after that, we're going to kind of slip back into a little bit more of a summery pattern, although at least we'll keep the humidity away. But yeah, here for the next couple of days, we really have very nice weather in store. The high yesterday was 73. We're going to be a bit on the cool side today with a lot of sun around, but not quite as cool as we head up to 78. And then on a kind of chilly night tonight, dropping back down to 54 degrees with a few clouds around. Partly sunny tomorrow. We're starting to warm things up, headed up to 83 degrees, very warm with a high of 89 and plenty of sunshine on Wednesday. And then it's just downright hot with sunshine for Thursday and Friday, though at least it's not too humid. We'll top out at 92 on Thursday and 94 Friday. Right now it's 48 in St. Peters, 52 in Florissant, and 56 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is now 6:42, and history denied for Beyonce and Taylor Swift at last night's MTV Video Music Awards.
Lady Gaga playing a bit of a spoiler, getting Artist of the Year at last night's VMAs, which would have put Taylor Swift or Beyonce on top as the most awarded artists ever in MTV's existence. And not a bad night for Mother Monster on MTV and CBS, performing the Dead Dance from the hit show Wednesday and picking up Best Collaboration with Bruno Mars for Die With a Smile.
Thank you so much.
And Ariana Grande took home 2 Moon Persons for Best Pop Artist and Video of the Year for Brighter Days Ahead. Matt Wolf, CBS News.
Get ready for what OpenAI hopes is the first hit movie made with artificial intelligence.
I'm David Attenborough's neighbor, Dennis, and welcome to a forest filled with little critters.
Wall Street Journal reports the startup is lending its tools and computing resources for the creation of a feature-length film. It aims to debut at next year's Cannes Festival.
Witnessing their subconscious adventures is truly adorable.
The goal to prove AI can make movies faster and cheaper than Hollywood, with a production time of just 9 months instead of an average 3 years. Critters has a budget of just $30 million. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
The Rocky Horror Picture Show is turning 50.
The campy parody of sci-fi films first bombed on the big screen. Tim Curry played Dr. Frankenfurter and told CBS Sunday Morning,
"It was a failure, and I was crushed."
But it soon became a cult favorite when they turned it into a midnight show, and fans turned out in full costumes and became part of the performance.
You've never seen anything like the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
From the KMOX archives, 27 years ago today, hard to believe it was 27 years ago, September 8th, 1998, Mark McGwire broke Roger Maris's single-season home run record, number 62, told the adoring home crowd at Busch Stadium he was happy to have finally reached that milestone.
I knew tonight was going to be the night. And I can honestly now say I can rest my bat alongside Roger Maris's bat in the Hall of Fame, and I'm damn proud of it.
McGwire wound up that season with 70 home runs. Barry Bonds later eclipsed him with 73. McGwire has since admitted to steroid use. McGwire was in town over the weekend. The Hall of Fame ceremonies honoring Al Raboski, Edgar Renteria, and Walt Jocketty. Michael Jordan was in town, too. He's a business partner with Denny Hamlin, who won the Enjoy Illinois 300 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. The NASCAR playoff race is in the books, and Hamlin makes it 4 winners in 4 cup races in St. Louis. Also 4 different pole sitters, as he had the best car in qualifying and the best car in the end. Wins the race. We'll have an interview with him coming up next hour. Thomas Bjorn was victorious at the Stiefel Charity Classic. Here's Dan Reardon.
For the third time in its 5-year history, the Stiefel Charity Classic went to extra holes Sunday at Norwood Hills. Australia's Cameron Percy ran down Denmark's Thomas Bjorn with a 7 under 64 to get to 12 under with a birdie at the 18th. The overtime matchup looked like a mismatch. Bjorn, with a worldwide resume of golf success that included a winning Ryder Cup captaincy, against Percy, who has never won on any major tour and ranks 3,009th in the world. Form held true as Bjorn, who closed with a 4 under 67, rolled in a long birdie putt in overtime for the win. At the Stiefel Charity Classic, Dan Reardon for KMOX Radio Sports.
At Busch Stadium, the Cardinals pulled it off again.
Batting left-handed against Riley O'Brien. Ground ball hit to Sajasi to second out, on to first, double play, and a Redbird winner. Light up downtown St. Louis with the fireworks as the Cardinals have taken 2 out of 3 against San Francisco, and it was a double play ball to Thomas Sajasi to end the game, giving O'Brien a save and Sonny Gray the win.
Nice to see Riley O'Brien back. Cardinals win 4-3. They have taken now 3 consecutive series to get themselves back to 500. They'll visit the Seattle Mariners tonight on KMOX. Oh, last night's football game. Did you turn it off when Buffalo was getting crushed by the Ravens down 40-25? Well, they rallied. Josh Allen led Buffalo to 3 scores in the final 4 minutes. A 32-yard field goal by Matt Prater as time expired, and the Bills, down 15, stunned the Ravens 41-40 in a season-opening thriller. Buffalo scored 16 points in the last 3:56. Aaron Rodgers looked right at home in his debut with the Steelers. 41-year-old quarterback threw 4 touchdown passes against his former team. Steelers beat the Jets 34-32. Carlos Alcaraz reasserted his superiority over Jannik Sinner with a 6-2, 3-6, 6-1, 6-4 victory in the U.S. Open final in New York. 3rd Grand Slam tournament in a row where these elite young rivals met to decide the champion. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX, and Who's Hot, Who's Not was brought to you by St. Louis Composting, a great company, St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories here in St. Louis, and reminding you that fall is a very special time. Fall is a great time to think about your landscaping, actually, and a great time to do a little work around the yard. Today'd be a great day to do some yard work if you have some time. It's also a great time early fall to give your lawn a boost. Top dressing with Super Char helps break up tough clay soils, improves water retention, and adds organic matter back into the ground. That is a premium blend of their black gold compost and biochar, which is designed to build healthier soil. You can see it all at stlcompost.com. And by the way, when you get your pumpkins next month, don't forget to just don't throw them away. Recycle them, get them back to STL Composting in any of their 9 locations. And when you do, you'll get a $10 coupon towards your next purchase just by giving them a pumpkin. STLcompost.com.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home, 2 gig upload, 2 gig download mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus, right now, they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0711, and they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website, i3broadband.com.
It's back, and you're invited to join us in Forest Park, September 19th and 20th, for the 53rd Annual Great Forest Park Balloon Race Weekend, presented by PNC Bank. Attendance is free, and the number of memories and photos you can capture is endless. Special thanks to New Ground International and Blue Moon Brewing Company. The 53rd Annual Great Forest Park Balloon Race Weekend. For more details, visit the events page at KMOX.com.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
6:50, and we will talk about that bad jobs report that came out last week with Jill Schlesinger, our CBS News business analyst, here in just a minute. But first, let's get you caught up on your ride in and the weather as well. From the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center, here's Roger Brand.
Well, 55 is still pretty tough, Debbie, northbound, unfortunately, this morning. Just traffic reports of service of FanDuel Sports Network. Still working this crash in the left lane, northbound 55, just right before the Highway Z exit. Traffic's jammed back to almost Highway A, a solid jam. 61, 67 coming up. If you get off at the exit down there in Festus, Crystal City, you can run all the way up almost to Z without any real delays. 55 is also bogged down north of Merrimack Bottom up through Butler Hill, Mattis. That crash is still on the shoulder there. And then from the Union Road overpass to River to Perry, you've got roadwork delays. More folks are taking Tesson Ferry. It's backed up north of Wells up to Kennerly right now. Northbound 141 from Tesson Ferry up through Romaine Creek's pretty busy. 30 from Mauer to 270 is slow. North 270 Doherty Ferry up to 64. That's busy right now. Southbound 61, a couple of slow spots south of P down through the Wentzville Parkway area. Eastbound 70, Lake St. Louis and through Highway K. That's slower as well. Cardinals FanDuel Sports Network is your TV and streaming home of the Cardinals. Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network and stream the Cardinals or watch through your TV provider. Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com for details. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather looking good today. Very good. We're going to have nice, cool weather, actually. A high of only 78 degrees with lots of sun and a low of 54 tonight. Tomorrow, partly sunny, a little warmer, high of 83. And then the heat comes back. Sunny and warm, high 89 Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, we're talking about temperatures in the low to mid 90s. Friday's high is 94. Currently, we have a clear sky, and it is 47 downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:52 and time to check in with our CBS News business analyst, Jill Schlesinger. And I guess my first question, Jill, is the new commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics employed this morning?
So far, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a very interesting remark because two things that brings up, which is two subsequent reports that we've had about the employment market. And number one is that the July report was, if you remember, that was the one where we had all those revisions, and then that prompted the president to fire the Commissioner of Labor Statistics. Now the new one is in. We had Friday a new report out, and that report did show a cooling of the labor market, just 22,000 jobs created. The previous 2 months were revised lower, again, a lower revision, but not by as much. But you know what? The unemployment rate edged up. We're at the highest level in 4 years. And what we know is that there is no doubt, whoever's running this department, that even if you just talk to people looking for a job, that essentially the market is cooling down. And the first 4 months of the year, things were going pretty well, 120,000 jobs a month. Over the past 4 months, since the tariffs were announced, I think a lot of businesses are saying, like, it's a little bit uncertain out there. We don't know if consumers are going to start pulling back or not. And so I think that generally speaking, the Labor Department's not falling apart. Just think of it sort of on hold right now, because we are not seeing evidence of widespread layoffs throughout lots of different sectors, but we are seeing some pockets of weakness.
Interesting stat in your JillOnMoney.com blog, in that the Gallup poll showing that 62% of Americans are invested in the stock market in some way. That sounds great, but that means that 38% don't invest at all, Jill.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like the good news, bad news. Like that 62% is a good number, but the most common reason why people don't invest is that they don't have a retirement plan accessible to them. So I think that, a lot of times people will say to me like, "Oh, my kid can't afford a house." But I'll say, okay, well, be an investor, that's a great way to accumulate wealth. And certainly over the last 10 years, the market has gone crazy. It's been incredible. So, when you think about that, that's wonderful as long as you can do it. I think that there's a few things that are happening right now that put a little bit of a dim outlook across, say, middle-class earners. And, one is obviously prices are still high after the pandemic surge. The other is that housing affordability is lousy. The other is, even if you can invest in the stock market, you're not putting tons of money in there yet. And a lot of people are kind of feeling like, gosh, I can't quite get ahead. We had evidence of this. We had a poll that showed that the share of Americans who say they have a good chance of improving their standard of living, it fell to 25%. So just a quarter of Americans say that they can improve their standard of living. You know what, gang? That is a record low dating back to 1987. So wow. This is not a good sign when the middle and the lower income earners don't feel like they can get ahead. So we should keep an eye on that.
You can always learn more at JillOnMoney.com/blog. Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst. Have a great week.
Take care.
Somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
This is kind of funny because last week his birthday was listed everywhere, September 1st, Lars Nootbaar. So we announced it on KMOX and went up to him before the game. I'm like, "Hey, happy birthday, dude." He goes, "It's not my birthday. Why does everyone keep saying that?" He's like, "This is crazy." He goes, "I even got an email from like the Players Association wishing me a happy birthday." So it was listed wrong. Anyway, today's his birthday.
Oh, today.
He said it's September 8th. So happy birthday, Newt. Hope you have a great one.
The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Happy 29th wedding anniversary to Tim and Krista Jenkins from Mom and Dad, Jeannie Hawcap, Ron Ahrens, Joanne Hopkiss, Kathy Davis, Ann Jenkins from Carol and the Family, Keith Dooley, and Craig Moore.
This is the best birthday ever.
Hey, let's talk for a moment about selling your home. Maybe you were listening to that update from Jill Schlesinger and you're thinking, oh, so the economy is cooling and people don't have money. Should I sell a house? Is this a good time? Well, you need to sell a house. You need to sell a house. And it really matters who your agent is. Agent selection matters. And I would highly recommend that you call Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Doesn't matter what the housing market is doing. Gloria will sell your home guaranteed, or she'll buy it herself. There you go. Gloria will guarantee in writing to sell your home at 100% of market value, or she'll even pay you the difference. If you have questions, you want to know how this works, how can Gloria possibly guarantee these things when other agents would never in a million years guarantee that kind of thing? Well, she'll be happy to explain her systems and how this works. But your home sold guaranteed. Call 314-325-6888. As always, seller and Gloria must agree on price and possession date. You can get all the information at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Hey, it's Jeff Sachs at Sachs Financial. Did you know that you have a pension and there are ways to maximize how you take it? That's right. It's called Social Security. Find out more at retiresafestl.com/guide. That's retiresafestl.com/guide.
It's easy to feel apprehensive about getting screened for cancer or to just keep putting it off. But Siteman Cancer Center wants to remind you how important it is, especially after the age of 40. And they also want you to know how easy it is to get it done. GetScreenedNow.com has all the information you need on cancers like prostate, breast, colon, lung cancer. You can also find out your risk of disease by answering just a few simple questions. And then you can find one of the hundreds of screening locations in the area. Even if you're a little farther out, there is probably a place near you. You have heard this before, but catching cancer early dramatically increases the odds of a successful treatment, especially with so many cancers showing up earlier in life. So do not be intimidated. Siteman will make the process as simple as possible. GetScreenedNow.com. Do it for your family and friends who count on you. Do it for yourself. Visit GetScreenedNow.com.
Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, good news, Tom. They cleared the crash north 55 at Z, so lanes are open there. It's still jamming north of A up to about the Joachim Creek, and then it starts picking up the pace. They also cleared that one that was at the Mattis overpass on the shoulder. Traffic's still slow, though, midway between Merrimack Bottom and Butler Hill up to there. And then you have the usual roadwork delays on north 55 from the Union Road overpass to River to Bear as well. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood.
News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Tensions are growing as President Trump renews his threats to send troops into more big cities like Chicago. Correspondent Ed O'Keefe is at the White House.
Top Illinois leaders, including Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth, denounced the president.
It would be an illegal order to declare war on a major city, any city within the United States, by the president of the United States.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker agreed, saying his state won't be intimidated by a wannabe dictator. But Trump responded on Sunday.
We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our city.
Over the weekend, there were large protests in Chicago and Washington, D.C., where the National Guard is already on the streets. A deadly attack during rush hour in Jerusalem. Israeli officials say at least 6 people were killed, 21 hurt, when 2 attackers opened fire at a bus stop at the end of rush hour. The BBC's Yolande Nell.
The Islamist Hamas movement welcomed the attack, calling it, quote, a natural response to the occupation's crimes against our people. Since the war with Hamas began almost 2 years ago, there has also been an increase in tensions between Israelis and Palestinians in the West Bank and Jerusalem as well. Almost 1,000 Palestinians have been killed in Israel or the West Bank, as well as dozens of Israelis.
Police say an officer and a civilian shot and killed the suspects at the bus stop. President Trump has put out a new ceasefire proposal for Israel and Hamas. No word on the details, but he says Israel's already accepted the terms, and he calls it his last warning to Hamas to do the same. Meantime, the president's talking about punishing Russia after its largest air attack on Kyiv since the war began.
It's such a horrible waste of humanity. So, no, I am not thrilled with what's happening there, I will tell you. I think it's going to get settled.
At least 4 people were killed, and one of the most important government buildings in the capital was seriously damaged. Jury selection begins today in the trial of Ryan Ruth, the man charged with trying to assassinate Donald Trump at his golf course last year. Former federal prosecutor Lori Levinson.
The fact that a juror might know about this case because people throughout the nation did know doesn't necessarily disqualify them. But you certainly want to know what biases they come in with.
The joke was on Howard Stern fans when they tuned in and heard Andy Cohen announcing today that after his more than 20 years on Sirius, Cohen would be replacing the 71-year-old shock jock.
I know that you're expecting a big announcement from Howard, and this is actually not how things were meant to go.
Surprise! It was all a joke, and Stern soon joined in. Dow futures up 63. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Let me tell you about this new pretzel cheddar club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The U.S. Open ended with one last day of
It is 7:04, and right now we've got clear skies. It's 47 degrees in downtown St. Louis. The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We'll get the full forecast, including a warm-up at the end of the week from AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire. Missouri lawmakers are back in full session today to continue work on new congressional maps and changes to the state's initiative petition system. The extraordinary session, called by Governor Mike Kehoe, aims to redraw district lines, potentially turning a Kansas City area district into a Republican-held seat.
A resolution is also being considered that would require a majority of voters in each congressional district to approve constitutional changes. The measures have already been advanced by the Republican-led House committees.
This map was drawn here, made here, for here, by our team.
That's Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe, but who on his team? KMOX reached out to a spokesperson for Kehoe asking that question. We were told over text it was, quote, several members, close quote, of Kehoe's staff who have extensive knowledge of redistricting, but nobody was named. New congressional maps are usually drawn every 10 years with heavy involvement from the Senate. However, KMOX has confirmed with representatives from both Senate President Pro Tem Cindy O'Loughlin's office and House Speaker John Patterson's office that neither were involved in drawing the Missouri First map. Democrats, meanwhile, have their own theory.
Here's the unfortunate part about that map. It was not drawn here.
Senate Minority Leader Doug Beck, he points to a Missouri Independent article claiming a D.C.-made map was circulating Republican ranks. KMOX asked if the members of Kehoe's team could be named, but have not yet heard back as of late Sunday evening. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
At the National Conservatism Conference in D.C. over the weekend, Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt explained who America is for and says it's not for everyone. He named groups of white pilgrims, pioneers, and settlers who left America. He says, for us, it's our birthright.
The old conservative establishment may have opposed something like illegal immigration on procedural grounds, simply because it was illegal. But they took no issue with it in substance. If the same thing was achieved through legal avenues, many of them would celebrate and support it. At this point, it should be clear that the fact that something is sanctioned by our government doesn't mean it's good for our country. That much is obvious with various forms of legal immigration today.
Schmidt told the group America doesn't belong to them, it belongs to us. Our people tamed the continent. Critics called it a shockingly white nationalist vision.
Last week, KMOX told you about Kirkwood considering new tech to track parking in the downtown area.
It would have been a six-figure investment for an app to tell visitors which spots are open and where. Kirkwood council members, though, say they heard an earful about the idea from constituents, with one word in particular coming up a lot.
I mean, this is nuts.
I, too, like so many of us, have had a lot of contacts from residents,
And they're all pretty consistently thinking it's nuts as well. And I concur with the nuts associate.
I won't say it's nuts, but on paper, it's a good idea. But the cost.
So they voted down the contract. Kirkwood will try two things. First, to alleviate the car crunch. First, they'll give out more tickets to those parked over time limits. Second, they'll get separate parking spaces for downtown employees. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The business desk sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. Starting today, Delta Airlines begins nonstop service from Lambert Airport to JFK. Direct service enables passengers to use AirTrain JFK as a fast and easy way into Manhattan. It also provides international travelers with a range of airline options.
I'm Maria Aquina.
If you want to help us fight crime, send us civilian law enforcement.
The Illinois governor vowing to take legal action if the military rolls into Chicago.
That's coming up after we check traffic and weather. It's 7:08.
You all remember me mentioning my wife's thermostat being broke because of the change of women evidently have to go through, which is horrible. People called me asking me how did she feel about me sharing her insanity. I did notice seeing her looking through a fork at me. So, hey guys, if your wife, your girlfriend, your better half is looking through a fork at you, look it up. Why? You're going to be shocked. But she's still happy that she's got air conditioning. So you need help. You need pricing. Somebody told you need new equipment. Remember, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. But guys, look up wives looking through forks at husband. You better change your program around. God bless.
Missouri, get ready. The wait is almost over. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State, and you can sign up today. New Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets when we launch on December 1st. Download now and place a $5 bet when we go live. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code KMOX to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. That's code KMOX in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Roger, by the looks of it, maybe a little bit of a slower start for people this morning. I don't know. How's it look out there overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center?
Well, some places are worse than others, obviously, Tom, and 55 was really the toughest spot. Now, it's still busy, but it's better because I mentioned just before the top of the hour that we cleared that crash we had at Highway Z, but there's still slow traffic. In fact, there's a backup from Highway A about midway up to McNutt, and it's slow McNutt up to the Joachim Creek. So still volume, but nothing like what we had earlier. And then there's slow traffic from Merrimack Bottom pretty much all the way up to 270. You know, that crash was out there at Mattis forever as well. North 55 is also on the brakes from Rivas Barracks up to River to Paris, so that's a solid jam. Northbound Telegraph coming up through north of Herb through the Baumgartner area. Looks like we're backed up. If you're on northbound Tesson Ferry, that's better, but Butler Hill to Kennerly still jammed. 30 still busy. Mauer to 270. North 270, Manchester up to Ladue. South 270, Olive to Ladue, slow. Eastbound 70, just east of David Hochul into Wentzville Parkway is heavy. And then from A to almost K, just a slower stretch there. It's also backed up briefly coming through the 270 interchange. Eastbound 64 at the Interbelt up to about Bellevue, slow. Downtown, we still look okay. Westbound across the bridges at least. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is going to be a bright and sunny day, though it is still going to be a bit on the cool side, high about 78 degrees. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy and very cool. We'll drop down to 54 degrees, then partly sunny tomorrow. We'll have a warmer afternoon with a high of 83, mostly sunny and very warm with a high of 89 on Wednesday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on 104.1 FM KMOX.
A clear, bright morning with sunshine and 47 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis.
It's 7:12. The city of Chicago is preparing for the arrival of the National Guard after President Trump threatened war in the city. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker believes this is a nefarious plan, one that's been repeated over and over again by tyrannical dictatorships across history.
Where you try to incite local population into some mayhem by sending in police or other disruptors.
And Governor Pritzker says then claimed that there is too much mayhem on the ground and therefore there must be troops sent in.
And that's how you basically convert a democracy into something other than that.
Pritzker tells MSNBC that's what worries him the most, and he adds it has already been done in Los Angeles. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
KMOX Republican analyst John Hancock says what the president's doing with this campaign is deflecting. He's trying to turn the news away from things that aren't going so well for him.
And one of them is the state of the economy, very poor jobs report for August. Clearly, the Epstein files continues to be an issue that doesn't go away. So I think a lot of these actions that you see are meant to just create a lot of alternate news.
Democratic analyst Michael Kelly sees the president reaching for wins because the losses are piling up.
He promised he was going to lower prices on day one. He was going to open up the Epstein files. He was going to end the war. Donald Trump hasn't delivered on anything he promised. In fact, everything he's promised has gone the opposite direction.
Kelly says sending in troops isn't a long-term solution to fighting crime, and that Trump has been cutting federal funds that could be addressing the problem in the long run. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
They were unavailable and that they were locking the doors to the building that's going to be considered, and we wouldn't be able to enter it and see it.
That's Illinois Senator Dick Durbin at a news conference explaining how the Department of Homeland Security wouldn't allow him or Senator Tammy Duckworth to see the building at Great Lakes Naval Training Station that the Trump administration might use for deployment of troops or ICE agents.
It appears to be a rather mundane, routine office building. Nothing particularly unusual about it. But they would not even meet with us to discuss it. This kind of secrecy is not part of our government and shouldn't be. It's an indication that there's something about this mission they don't want the public to know.
Durbin says he wants the public and members of Congress to know what is going to happen at that facility.
Let's talk sandwiches. There was a line outside of Mom's Deli hours before lunch Friday as the beloved sandwich shop reopened in a new storefront on Hampton. That building might be new, but people's orders are always the same.
What do you got? Mom's special. Mom's special.
Same here, always. Mom's special for sure. We're ordering 9 of those today. Tried and true.
All day. Mom's special for me. Menu is the same. So is that recipe for the Thousand Island dressing. Even the sign that hangs over the counter is the same one from Mom's longtime location on Jameson. It's 7:15.
With Ricky Horton, I'm John Rooney, and yesterday at Busch Stadium, the Cardinals took advantage of 4 walks in the 5th inning and turned those walks into a 4-run 5th and beat the Giants 4-3.
Really a terrific game, a game that really all the scoring took place in those 2 half innings. Cardinals got good work out of their bullpen. Swanson was good again. He made some tough pitches, and Riley O'Brien got a double play to end the game.
Thomas Ajayci had a good game at second, making the first play of the game on a tough effort, and then he was able to take in a double play ball to end it.
And Nathan Church also played well defensively, a big play in the final inning, and he also got on base 3 times.
Now the Cardinals have gone west, and the Mariners have had a hot year, and Cal Raleigh is on fire with the home run ball.
Pitching is going to be important on this road trip for St. Louis.
And it begins with Miles Michaelis. He'll be opposed by Brian Wu. On the air at 7:45. Ricky has the lineups at 8:30. First pitch at 8:40 Central Time.
Really a great day at Worldwide Technology Raceway in Madison, Illinois. Denny Hamlin won the Enjoy Illinois 300. Great pit stop with about 40 laps to go and ran away with it. He was the pole sitter as well. 4th different pole sitter, 4th different winner in the NASCAR Cup Series at Worldwide Technology Raceway. We'll hear from Denny Hamlin, his visit with KMOX, coming up at 7:45. Now to golf.
Denmark's Thomas Bjorn rolled in a long birdie putt on the first playoff hole Sunday to beat Australian Cam Percy and win the Stiefel Charity Classic at Norwood Hills. Bjorn shot 4 under 67 to finish 12 under and matched Percy, who shot 7 under 64. For the Dane, it was his 2nd win of the year and of his career on the PGA Tour Champions. For Percy, it was deja vu 15 years later. He lost a playoff on the PGA Tour in Las Vegas in 2010 to Jonathan Bird, who made a hole-in-one to win the championship. Next year, the tournament moves on the calendar to October, when it is elevated in importance to the first round of the Schwab Cup playoffs. At Norwood, Dan Reardon for KMOX Radio Sports.
Another venue that was busy last night, Herman Stadium on the campus of St. Louis University. The Bronze Boot is back in the hands of St. Louis as the 16th-ranked Billikens defeated SIUE 2-1, 2,245 fans at Robert R. Herman Stadium. And in football, it was Josh Allen leading Buffalo to 3 scores in the final 4 minutes. The last, a 32-yard field goal by Matt Prater as time expired. And the Bills, I don't know if you caught this last night, but what an incredible rally. They were down 15 and came back and stunned the Ravens at home 41-40. Buffalo scored 16 points in the last 3:56. Let's give Josh Allen our player to bank on, brought to you by Community America Credit Union, invested in you. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM. KMOX.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit TrueHold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Football means playing underdog. That's just the case. Football is back. Underdog's the best place to select entries and win money all season long. You pick player stats, higher or lower. You choose whether higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. You get those entries right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Maybe I'll choose Caleb Williams going over 218.5 passing yards, higher or lower. I think he'll go higher than 218.5 passing yards. That's what I'm going to pick there. And then J.J. McCarthy, 221.5. I might go higher there as well. You know, bit of a shootout between the Bears and Vikings tonight. Let's see. Download the app today, Underdog, and sign up with promo code TOM and score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code TOM. Millions of fans have already won billions making plays on Underdog. Underdog must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS HTML for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
All right, it is 7:20 and time to get you updated on your ride-in and the weather, which is actually heating up as we head through this week. Traffic's probably heating up at this hour as well. Let's get the latest from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
There's a fair amount of slow going out there right now, Debbie. If you're on northbound 55, it's better down south than it was, but I'll still call it slow from McNutt up to Highway Z from the earlier crash. It's bogged down from Merrimack Bottom all the way up the hill to 270. Of course, the right lane's more so because of the exit onto 270 there. And then it's backed up again from Rivas up to River to Pear, northbound Telegraph from about Herb up through Baumgartner and approaching Forder Pottle. There's backed up traffic north 270 slow from the 55 ramp on most of the way to Gravois. Big Bend up through, or north of 44 rather, up to about Doherty Ferry and north of Manchester to Ladue. South 270, Olive to Ladue's busy. Eastbound Highway 70, you've got a little backup right around David Hokel Parkway. Then it's slow approaching Wentzville Parkway. Into the Bryan Road area is heavy, and then east of the Blanchette Bridge into 270, there's slow stuff. If you're on eastbound 64, you've got heavy traffic past Winghaven. It's jammed, actually, approaching the Boone Bridge. Could have a problem there. Slow around the Chesterfield Parkways and McKnight through Big Bend. And if you're on northbound Tesson Ferry, Butler Hill to Kennerly, eastbound 30's jammed, approaching Mauer up the hill to 270 now. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And as for that weather, Roger, it's going to be beautiful today. High of 78, sunny, but a bit cool. Tonight, low 54, but tomorrow we start to warm up. High 83. Wednesday's high 89. All of this with a sunny sky. Thursday, Friday, sunshine and hot. Not too humid, but hot. High Thursday, 92. Friday's high is 94 degrees. Right now, it's sunny and 49 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:22. President Trump says he has a new proposal to end the war in Gaza. In a statement, Trump said the Israelis have accepted his terms and he's giving Hamas a last warning to do the same. Hamas says it is discussing the idea it received from the U.S. and that it's prepared to release its remaining hostages in exchange for a full withdrawal of Israeli forces. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu previously rejected a similar ceasefire, vowing not to withdraw until Hamas is destroyed. Larry Korb served as Assistant Secretary of Defense from 1981 through 1985.
I think the fact that they're starting with this offensive, Trump did this because he doesn't want to be put in the position where it's too late to pull back, even if you wanted to. You know, trying to get the Nobel Peace Prize doesn't look like he's going to get very far in Ukraine. So I think he focused on this because you deal with Trump, a lot of it is always about him.
The Gaza Health Ministry reports Israel's offensive has so far killed at least 64,000 people, mostly civilians.
Attackers opened fire at a major intersection in East Jerusalem, killing at least 4 people and injuring at least 10 others. BBC News correspondent Yolanda Nell, near the scene, says this area has seen violence before.
We can see a number of emergency vehicles near to us. Checkpoints apparently being closed around Jerusalem. This is a junction that's previously seen attacks and attempted attacks. It's not far as well from the Neve Yaniv settlement in East Jerusalem, where 7 people were shot dead in early 2023 outside the synagogue.
Jury selection is underway in the trial of Ryan Ruth, accused of attempting to assassinate Donald Trump last year on Trump's golf course. Authorities say a Secret Service agent stopped him from firing his weapon. Ruth had reportedly camped outside for 12 hours prior to the alleged attempt. Loyola law professor and former federal prosecutor Lori Levinson is following the case.
It's going to be an unconventional trial because Ruth will be difficult to control during the trial. And the court has to keep that jury focused on the evidence, not on Ruth's personality. So the first step in this high visibility trial is jury selection.
Illinois Senator Dick Durbin and Senator Tammy Duckworth met with an admiral at Great Lakes Naval Training Station who took the senators through the process of how that facility was chosen by the Trump administration.
Great Lakes Naval Training Station was first contacted on August 14th with the proposal that they make some space available for the administration's Department of Homeland Security. They have negotiated and released information as to what was agreed to, and we discussed it in detail.
Durbin says the senators tried to get a meeting with Homeland Security, but they said they were unavailable and that they were locking the doors to the building that was being considered.
A new Gallup poll is out asking about socialism, capitalism, and big business.
The poll finds that Americans are more positive toward capitalism than they are about socialism. But the 54% viewing capitalism favorably is down from 60% just 4 years ago. Democrats and independents view capitalism less positively this year, each showing 8 percentage point declines since 2021. Republicans' views are essentially unchanged, with 3/4 holding a positive opinion.
As for socialism, perception remains steady at 39% positive.
Hurricane Kiko has been downgraded to a Category 2 system. It's expected to continue to weaken as it moves north of Hawaii and encounters cooler water. KHOU meteorologist Kelly Simek says they're still expecting to get some impacts from Kiko.
Tropical storm force winds will remain north of the island chain. So we're really not expecting the heavy downpours, the strong winds. The primary impacts for Hawaii expected to be marine related with large surf, potentially life-threatening rip currents as well.
It is now 7:27. This is Total Information AM, and the time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Some of you may know that last year I moved my mom to St. Louis because she needed help with day-to-day things. And one of the things we had to discuss was things like power of attorney, health directives, and estate planning. It's really a conversation that you do need to have with your loved ones. And it's sometimes difficult to get that conversation started, but you should call the Yansky Law Firm. Martin Yansky and his team have been helping people put their estate plans together for more than 30 years. Martin is an elder law attorney. And one thing that you might want to think about too is pre-crisis and nursing home planning, which is planning ahead of time for nursing home care, which can be extremely expensive. And Martin Yansky can help you save as much as possible. Things like asset protection and business planning, wills and trusts, guardianship. The Yansky Law Firm is at your service at 314-881-6141. And you'll speak with Tanya. She knows so much and she'll point you in the right direction. Maybe you don't need a trust. Maybe there's a different direction you need to go. The Yansky Law Firm can help you with all of that. It is spelled Jansky. The Yansky Law Firm, Jansky law.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live, it's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted Best Independent Senior Living Community for 4 years in a row by U.S. News & World Report. We think you'll like it here, and the experts agree. Come see us for yourself. Call to schedule a tour with Lynch or to RSVP for our senior prom on September 24th with live entertainment by the Backstreet Cruisers. Find us online at fairwindsriversedge.com.
Cardinal Cowboy here. After a coma, a miracle, and the fight of my life, I made it back to the games wearing my signature cowboy hat and jersey. Then came the baseball pants, the replica trophy, and the smiles and joy from the young fans. That's when the Cardinal Cowboy was born. Renner Garage Door knows how to bring joy too. With top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, and family service you can trust, get your free repair or replacement quote today. Forward and back. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Well, we're looking at a sunny sky here in downtown St. Louis. It's 50 degrees. I'm Tom Ackerman.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got backed up traffic, Debbie, on eastbound 70, bumper to bumper from David Hochul into Wentzville Parkway. It's slow from Highway A all the way to T.R. Hughes, and east of 94 all the way into the Rock Road. Just a lot of volume running that way. Eastbound 64 slow, both sides of Winghaven, but we're jammed from Highway K. I can't tell if this is a stall or a crash, but I can tell you the left lane is blocked. I mentioned this jam right at the Boone Bridge. Left lane blocked just before you get to the Boone Bridge. So again, backed up to K, and that's barely moving. Then it's slow Chester, Clarkson Road to about Timberlake and east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, west of Hampton, headed out to Big Bend's heavy. South 270, Page down to 64, slow. North 270 jammed. Ramping on from 55, Sappington through Gravois, Big Bend all the way to Ladue. It's pretty busy. Eastbound 30 from the Merrimack River to 270s, heavy. Tesson Ferry, slow coming up from Wells. 55, McNutt up to the Joachim Creek. Merrimack bottom up to 270, and Green Park all the way to River to Pear. A lot of bumper-to-bumper traffic. Telegraph from Christopher all the way up to Pottle looks pretty tough. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather looks great, Roger. We're looking at plenty of sunshine and still a bit cool today, a high of 78. Clear to partly cloudy, quite cool tonight, low 54. Tomorrow we warm up to 83, Wednesday 89. Thursday and Friday still sunny but hot. Not too humid but hot. High Thursday 92, Friday's high is 94 degrees. Currently, it's sunny and 50 downtown at the Arch.
It is now 7:32. A vehicle theft on Friday involved the owner of the food truck K-Bop, who tells KMOX when she left her restaurant on Friday night, a restaurant on Delmar, the vehicle was there, but when Joy returned Saturday morning, it was gone. The good news, Joy posted on social media Sunday, the food truck was found in Caseyville.
So it was there for a long time. We already parked there, and I mean, it's just so horrible how they just find out truck and then just stolen.
Joy says in addition to their regular restaurant, they have a lot of food truck business as
We're
well.
always going out, and every day we almost use the truck. And today we had a schedule on 9 Mile Garden, and we couldn't come because the truck's gone.
It isn't known yet what condition the truck is in.
Spectrum's offering a reward to thwart criminal activity.
Spectrum says felony attacks on its telecom networks nationwide have gone up astronomically. In Missouri, they've increased 200% year over year. Criminals are cutting and stealing wire cables. That's disrupting service to homes, businesses, and most disturbingly, hospitals and 911 centers. The $25,000 reward is open to people in 10 states, including Missouri and Illinois. Jefferson County authorities just announced 2 men have been arrested for stealing communication wires. More info on the reward program at spectrum.com/vandalism. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
Kirkwood City Council members vote down an expensive expansion of parking tracking technology. KMOX first told you about this last week. Councilman Al Reinecker notes a pilot test of the tech in a few parking spots was not a success.
The ones we have don't work. Why would we spend more money buying more of them?
Mayor Liz Gibbons says downtown parking should still improve through other efforts.
We have just instituted that we are going to be enforcing our parking code, which hasn't been enforced in a long time, in downtown Kirkwood. So we're hoping that's going to free up more parking.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 49 degrees and sunny in downtown St. Louis. Weather sponsored by Spire, your natural gas provider. Spire has a fresh new look coming your way. They're updating their envelope color from orange to white. Be on the lookout for your Spire natural gas bill arriving in a fresh white envelope at 734.
Here's a few questions for you from California Psychics. Do your workdays seem to go on forever? Is your career progression as fast as downtown traffic? Or does your boss still not know your name?
Hey, you, Tina, Lisa, Sheila, whatever. Get that report to me by lunch, okay? It's Carrie, ma'am. Just get it done, Terry.
It's time to read the career warning signs and talk to California Psychics. We're always on hand to give you the career guidance you need. You see, we only connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. So you could soon be telling your boss where to stick that report.
Where are you going, Terry? Terry!
Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
It is 7:35. Let's get you updated on your money report from Bloomberg. It's sponsored by Busey Bank.
Good morning. Wall Street gets back to business today, and traders are betting that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates at its meeting next week after Friday's weak jobs report. One more key indicator will factor into that decision. The report on retail level inflation will be released this week. The Conference Board's Employment Trends Index, that could get more attention than usual when it's released this morning. It could offer clues to whether hiring will pick up in the months ahead. President Trump wants to find ways of providing more training for American workers. The president told reporters that Friday's immigration raid at a South Korean-owned EV battery factory proves that there's a need for such training. Hundreds of Korean workers who were in the U.S. illegally spent the weekend in custody. They may be able to return home aboard a chartered flight Wednesday. Stocks closed out the week lower. Friday's declines for the major averages ranged from less than 0.1% to 0.5%. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Since we opened our doors in 1868, Busey has fostered deep customer relationships and vibrant communities, embodying a legacy of partnership and progress. With multiple lines of business, we provide a range of financial solutions tailored to your needs. From digital banking to planning for retirement, Busey is here to help you achieve your financial goals. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Thank you, St. Louis, for making Genesis of St. Charles the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2025. We know your time is valuable. That's why every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet within 125 miles. We're closer than you think. That means complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, plus a loaner vehicle at no additional cost. Or want something new? We'll bring the test drive to you. Visit genesisofstcharles.com today. Based on GMA sales records for 2024, see dealer for details.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is so good. They are the best garage door company around. Everybody knows that by now. But Overhead Door Company of St. Louis does a lot of different things. They tune up garage doors. They replace garage doors. And the tune-ups, they know it's an important thing because it's the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. And we also have this crazy weather in St. Louis, hot and cold. I mean, we just went through the forecast for you. It's going to be from cold to hot. That can really be a problem for garage doors. The old weather stripping might need to be replaced. The opener might need to be examined. Certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. And you can even schedule evening and weekend service. There are a lot of copycats out there, but they can't match the service and the products of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. And they certainly can't boast the red ribbon. That's how you know you have the genuine, the original, since 1926. 314-781-5200, overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home, 2 gig upload, 2 gig download mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus, right now, they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0711, and they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website, i3broadband.com.
Celebrate the month of September with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Take $75 off your air duct cleaning as well. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of these huge savings. Spell it forward, spell it backwards. Always spells the same, Zero Res.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit CantorInjuryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Today, the Cards, the Mariners. Emma Total Access, 745. Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Let's get you caught up on your ride in. It looks like a beautiful sunny morning and possibly our last really nice, cool day for the rest of this week. Details on the way. But first, details on your ride from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center and Roger Brand.
Yeah, sunny and slow right now out there, Debbie. This traffic reports a service of McKelvey Homes. If you're on eastbound Highway 70 or bogged down east of Forestell, it jams east of David Hochul into Wentzville Parkway. It's slow from A all the way through T.R. Hughes, 94 into the Rock Road, 364 K most of the way to Mid Rivers is busy across the Veterans Bridge. Eastbound 64 kind of crowded from Prospect up through Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's bogged down, though, from Winghaven, and it jams midway between Winghaven and K up to this crash that's still in the left lane. Eastbound 64 is for the Boone Bridge, so that's really causing trouble. Slow through Clarkson to about Timberlake, and there's heavy pockets from 270 all the way in really through to about Bellevue. Westbound 64, Kings Highway to Hanley's heavy. South 270 is on the brakes at 364, slow to 64. North 270, 55. Up through Gravois, north of 44, up to Ladue. That's all busy. Eastbound 30, heavy from east of the Merrimack, West Watson. North 55, still a little slow stuff. McNutt to the Joachim Creek. The right lane south of Butler Hill to 270. All lanes are backed up. South of Rivas to River to Pear, and westbound 64, 3rd Street to the Poplars, heavy. Next update is 750 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Such nice weather. Heather's there. Can it just stay fall for the rest of this month?
You know, I am right there with you. I really wish it could. This has been spectacular weather over the weekend and now heading into today, but we are already starting to warm things up. So we have sunshine in store for today. It's been beautiful, bright blue skies this morning. Still a bit on the cool side. Yesterday was 73. That was about 10 degrees below average. We're cutting into that deficit a little bit today, getting up to 78. Tonight, still pretty cool though, down to 54 degrees. That's 10 degrees below average. We'll have clear to partly cloudy skies. And then with partly sunny skies, we're back up into the 80s, around 83 degrees for tomorrow. Very warm with sunshine on Wednesday, heading up to 89 degrees, and then just hot, but at least not too humid for Thursday and Friday. Both days will be sunny with a high of 92 Thursday and 94 Friday. Right now it's 49 in St. Peters, 55 in Florissant, and 57 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zare on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:43. Ariana Grande and Lady Gaga set the stage at the MTV Video Music Awards last night with standout moments. Grande winning Video of the Year and Best Pop. Gaga, the night's top nominee, won Artist of the Year and performed at Madison Square Garden. Mariah Carey got the Video Vanguard Award, delivering a medley of her hits.
And here is the honor of late Ozzy Osbourne, a tribute performance. Youngblood kicked it off with Crazy Train before joining Aerosmith, Steven Tyler, and Joe Perry for Changes and a moving finale of Mama, I'm Coming Home.
A lead singer and co-founder of the British band Supertramp has died at the age of 81 after a long battle with cancer.
It was early morning yesterday. Rick Davies added keyboards and soulful vocals to Supertramp, a group that hit it big in 1979. Goodbye Stranger was one of several hits on the album Breakfast in America that soared to number 1 in the U.S., won 2 Grammys, and sold more than 18 million copies. Davies had been treated for multiple myeloma, a type of blood cancer, for more than a decade. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
The Conjuring Last Rites creeped its way toward a box office win for the horror genre.
Jack and Janet Smurl claim that an evil presence has found its way into their home.
8 people live in this house. 8 people have experienced this.
The movie sequel raked in $83 million domestically in 3,800 theaters, making it the 3rd highest domestic opening for a horror movie. It's now the largest horror opening internationally with $104 million. The horror genre has now generated over $1 billion in earnings for this year's domestic box office with the help of other Warner Brothers hits like Weapons and Final Destination Bloodline. Let's get to sports, and let's start with the big race at Worldwide Technology Raceway. They sold it out. There was a celebrity factor as well. Bill Murray gave the announcement. Drivers, start your engines. Michael Jordan quietly was in the house. He is a partner of the winner.
1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. Hamlin is within 1.25 miles of a win. He has finished second here the last 2 years. And in this young history of NASCAR Cup Series competition at Worldwide Technology Raceway, with Hamlin's pole yesterday, he made it 4 different pole sitters in the 4 years. And in just 2 turns and half a straight, he's going to make it 4 different winners in 4 years. What a run from Denny Hamlin. He has led the most laps. Hamlin wins in St. Louis and books a spot in the round of 12.
Oh, boys. 200 for Toyota DH. Great job. Great execution, everyone. To be proud of that.
Coach Gibbs is smiling because his drivers have won the first 2 races of the playoffs.
A chance to visit with Denny Hamlin on KMOX.
Denny, first of all, congratulations. I wanted to ask you, how is your dad doing? And in many ways, is this a tribute to him?
Yeah, he's just, fighting some health issues and whatnot. And, he's not able to really travel anymore. So just really, know he's watching at home. And I wish I was with him or he was with me, but you never know when it's going to be your last race and, or last race win. So I try to celebrate accordingly. And, my dad has certainly been a big part of me getting here. It's just a breath of fresh air that we can go into next week, not have to worry about points. We're able to more than likely race a lot harder because of that. So this is an opportunity for us to go back to back like we did earlier this season.
Knowing you had a great car, how did you get this done in the final 35 laps or so?
Well, a ton of credit goes to the team. They're the ones that gave me a fast car, and then they made it better on that last pit stop. The last time, with about 40 laps to go, we made a good adjustment to the car that allowed me to take off. And once that happened, I could feel that I had a race-winning car at that moment.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Denny Hamlin wins the Enjoy Illinois 300. Across the river at Busch Stadium.
Batting left-handed against Riley O'Brien. Ground ball hit to Sajasi to second out, on to first, double play, and a Redbird winner. Light up downtown St. Louis with the fireworks as the Cardinals have taken 2 out of 3 against San Francisco, and it was a double play ball to Thomas Sajasi to end the game, giving O'Brien a save and Sonny Gray the win.
And the Cardinals visit the Mariners tonight to North County Golf.
For the third time in its 5-year history, the Stiefel Charity Classic went to extra holes Sunday at Norwood Hills. Australia's Cameron Percy ran down Denmark's Thomas Bjorn with a 7 under 64 to get to 12 under with a birdie at the 18th.
And with that playoff, Thomas Bjorn wins the Stiefel Charity Classic. Dan Reardon with the report there. In soccer, SLU won the bronze boot, beating SIUE 2-1. The women beat SIUE 3-0. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey guys, Glover here for Universal Windows Direct. Fall is the perfect season to tackle those home improvement projects before the weather turns cold. And if your windows are old, drafty, or just plain inefficient, now's the time to finally do something about it. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, no limit whether you need 4 or 14, you only pay for half. And to make it even easier, you'll get 0% financing for 3 years, so no interest, no pressure. So don't wait for the first freeze to realize your windows aren't cutting it. Call 314-334-2522 or visit universalwindowsdirect.com.
The KMOX City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra, is back. Next stop, Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill in Arnold, Thursday, September 18th. A limited number of fans can get an autographed picture from City SC player Timo Bungartle. Win great prizes, enjoy great food, and a cold drink. Hot Shots in Arnold is the place to be Thursday, September 18th from 6 till 8 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:51. Let's get you a check of the roadways and the weather. We start with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got this crash in the left lane, unfortunately, Debbie, on eastbound 64, just before you get to the Boone Bridge. If you're coming in from out west, southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway onto 64, all the way to Lake St. Louis Boulevard is busy, and it jams just east of Winghaven all the way to this crash. Again, it's in the left lane before the Boone Bridge. After that, it's still slow east of Spady all the way through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, a jam from the Science Center out through Bellevue, slow to Big Bend. South 270, approaching 364 to Ladou's, busy north 270, north of 55 through Gravois, north of 44 up to Ladue to slow stretches. 44 between Bowles and Roz, a little busy. 30 West Watson to 270, heavy. Northbound 55, McNutt to Highway Z, Merrimack Bottom to Mattis, that's all slow. And then stop and go stuff from about Green Park all the way up to River to Pear. Westbound 64 just west of 3rd Street to the Poplar, a little busy, so that part not quite as bad at least. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Great weather forecast for today, Roger. We're looking at sunny skies and a high of only 78. For tonight, quite cool, low 54. But then the warm-up begins. Tomorrow's high is 83, Wednesday 89, Thursday and Friday in the low to mid-90s. Currently, it's 50 downtown.
The news continues at 7:52. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page's criminal trial will be moving counties. His attorney, Matthew Radefeld, tells KMOX they have come to an agreement with the Attorney General's office to change the venue to Greene County. Radefeld says he wants Page to get a fair trial.
The citizens of St. Louis County who would be serving as the jurors if this matter were to stay in St. Louis County. So they would be the ones to hear the case as to whether or not Dr. Page had allegedly stolen from them.
Radefeld says a judge still needs to approve the change of venue, but with both sides in agreement, that should just be a formality.
It's not exactly the type of truck that is easy to hide, but Friday, the Korean food truck K-Bop was stolen from behind the owner's restaurant on Delmar. But Sunday, owner Joy made a social media post that the truck was found. She talked with KMOX about how shocked she was to see the truck missing.
So we usually park our food truck behind our first location of K-Bop, which is in the 6120 Delmar Boulevard. It's just behind our building. There's a parking spot. And it was always there for a long time. And last night, I think it was there. But over the night, it's just gone. When we get there in the morning, just truck's gone.
Joy says she'll be going to Caseyville to check on the truck today.
The president of the University of Missouri System is committing to the state.
Well, UM System President Dr. Moon Choi's contract has been extended through 2031. There was a loud ovation at the historic Brewer Fieldhouse when that was announced Friday afternoon. I asked President Choi about some of his priorities in those several years that he has now with the extension. He says he's focusing especially on rural healthcare, rural counties across Missouri that need healthcare. That'll be a top priority. He also says he wants this to be his last job. In Columbia, I'm Brian Houseworth, KMOX News.
Mizzou snuck into the top 25 in the AP top 25 in the college football poll released yesterday. Illinois is number 9 in the country. The winners of the Powerball tickets in Fredericksburg, Texas, and in Missouri still haven't come forth. Here's CBS News San Antonio reporter Simone Simpson stopping off at the Biggs 103 store, which sold one of the winning tickets.
Like a proud mama, store manager Melanie Carter's team improvised sign on its front doors.
You know, it's like all the staff are congratulating me, and I'm like, no, guys, it's congratulations to you. You know, we don't know. I could have sold it. Any of my cashiers could have sold it. We don't know.
All right. I did not check my Powerball ticket. I did buy some Powerball tickets, but I didn't
so
check.
It wasn't you that won at Missouri? Or?
I don't know because I haven't checked my numbers yet.
You should check.
I mean, it could be me. Who knows? Could be. It is now 7:55.
I'm Roger Brand, and this is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
All right, let's talk for a moment about a service that you need to know about, and it's called EverTrue Anywhere Care. EverTrue Anywhere Care provides to older adults who want to age successfully at home a number of services that can help you stay in your home, which I know is really important to a lot of people. EverTrue Anywhere Care is formerly Lutheran Senior Services, so you know they have a long century-plus history of helping people in our region. Their team of experts specialize in orthopedic care. They also have licensed nurses for in-home support and trained caregivers that can help with household tasks. Maybe you need some meal prep, some cleaning, medication reminders. Call 314-597-6498 to learn more, or you can just visit online right now at evertrueanywherecare.org. That's evertrueanywherecare.org.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, they're still working this crash on eastbound 64, waiting for tow trucks, I guess. It's just before the Boone Bridge. The left lane is closed. Eastbound 64 is a solid jam from Winghaven up to the crash scene, so jam's getting a little bit worse. No real change there. 364, seeing some pockets from Bryan Road, most of the way into Mid Rivers where it's kind of busy, and between the Creve Coeur Lake Bridge, or the Veterans Bridge rather, and 141, it's a little slow as well. Eastbound Highway 70, a little busy around Highway A and TR Hughes, still off the pace east of 94, and that goes all the way into about the Rock Road. South 270, 364 to Ladou's busy. North 270, slow as you ramp on from 55, but basically Sappington, the Sappington Road overpass up to Ladue is the busiest part. 44, seeing some volume. Lindbergh in toward Barry. It opens up before you get to Elm. Northbound 55, McNutt up towards Z, still a little heavy. The right lanes, Butler Hill to 270, and all lanes from about Green Park all the way up through Virginia now are pretty heavy. Westbound 64, some slow traffic just across the Poplar downtown so far. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
51 degrees and sunny in downtown St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman. These are the stories coming up with Megan Lynch. A local pediatric hospital has published research on its unique model of care for patients with complex needs.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. A local pediatric hospital has published research. Experts are warning that spending too much time chatting with AI bots may trigger psychosis.
CBS News military analyst Jeff McCausland in our studios today to talk about the top risks to our national security and what it's like to talk to dozens of stations every day.
I'm Sean Malone. This map was drawn here, made here, for here by our team. But who on his team? I've got that story coming up.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. It's been a deadly day in Jerusalem. Officials say at least 6 people were killed, 12 wounded at the end of the morning rush hour. Reporter Linda Gradstein is in Jerusalem.
The Israeli police said 2 attackers opened fire at a crowded bus stop using improvised machine guns. Israeli media said the attackers also boarded a crowded bus and opened fire inside the bus before they were shot by a security officer and a civilian. Hamas did not claim responsibility, but welcomed the attack.
Jury selection begins in South Florida today in the trial of the man charged with trying to assassinate then-candidate Donald Trump at his golf course last year. Former federal prosecutor Lori Levinson.
The first thing that happens is they'll bring in a big pool of potential jurors, about 60 at a time, and question those individuals about what they know about the case and what their biases might be.
U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon has signed off on Ryan Ruth's request to represent himself, but she ordered court-appointed attorneys to remain on standby. ICE raids have begun in Boston and other Massachusetts locations, and operations in others may soon follow. Correspondent Ed O'Keefe.
White House border czar Tom Homan says Chicago and other so-called sanctuary cities should absolutely expect stepped-up immigration enforcement this week and doesn't rule out asking for help from the National Guard. New CBS News polling shows immigration and deportation issues are by far the most important issues Republicans are now judging the Trump administration on.
Hurricane Kiko has been downgraded to a Category 2 system, and it's expected to weaken more as it moves over cooler water. KHON meteorologist Kelly Simic is in Honolulu.
When you hear of a hurricane coming, you're worried mostly about winds and rains, but luckily, with the system passing to the north of us, it does look like it'll be far enough north that we're not going to be seeing the damaging effects that we were worried about.
Damaging winds did hit Massachusetts over the weekend, and a tornado tore through west of Boston. A peace vigil that stood near the White House for more than 40 years has been partially dismantled. CBS's Christopher Cruz has details from Washington.
The Washington Post calls the vigil the longest continuous act of political protest in American history. It's been there during the terms of 7 presidents and has survived brutal heat and bitter cold. Last week, after a reporter for a conservative outlet asked President Trump about it, the president said he wasn't aware of it, but ordered it taken down.
Dow futures are up 43, S&P futures ahead 14, and NAS futures up 83. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit progressive.com.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 49 degrees downtown at the Arch, so a brisk morning. Today is Monday, September 8th. The news sponsored by St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Megan Lynch. Missouri lawmakers returned to the state capitol today for a special session to address 2 key issues: redrawing the state's congressional maps and altering the initiative petition system. The proposed congressional map, supported by Governor Mike Kehoe and President Donald Trump, aims to create a 7-1 Republican advantage by making significant changes to the 5th congressional district in Kansas City.
This map was drawn here, made here, for here, by our team.
Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe in his Twitter video a week and a half ago calling for the special session, but did his team draw the map? Missouri Democrats think otherwise. Senate Minority Leader Doug Beck.
Others have seen it weeks ago because it was drawn in Washington, D.C.
Beck references a Missouri Independent article which claims the map originated in Washington, D.C. The map, usually drawn in the Senate, did not involve Senate President Pro Tem Cindy O'Loughlin, according to one of her staffers. A staffer for House Majority Leader John Patterson said the same. KMOX has reached out to a spokesperson from Kehoe's office, asking who worked on the map. Instead of naming names, the spokesperson said over text, it was several members who have extensive redistricting knowledge. KMOX asked for their names and has not yet heard back as of late Sunday evening. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Illinois leaders pushing back hard on President Trump's plan to fight crime and illegal immigration in Chicago with National Guard troops.
KMOX Democratic analyst Michael Kelly says military troops on city streets isn't the way to tackle those issues long term, but that's not what his opposition party should focus on.
Unfortunately, Democrats are pushing back on the military thing because it is ridiculous. But what would make sense is for us to continue to highlight that if he really wanted to fix crime, he could be funding it. But in fact, he's cut the money that goes to crime fighting so that he could have a tax cut.
Republican analyst John Hancock says the president's within his rights for now to put troops on the streets, but eventually the courts will get a hold of this.
Is it an appropriate use of the U.S. military forces to essentially become police forces in American cities? And I think that's a question that the courts have said no, and I think we'll continue to say no.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is saying a hard no. He says the president is threatening to go to war with an American city. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
America is not for everyone. Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt said that in a long speech this weekend at the National Conservatism Conference, and said it's not just illegal immigration that's a problem, but legal immigration as well. Who is it for? He says the son and daughters of the Christian pilgrims who settled this country.
All of them will be astonished to hear that they were only fighting for a proposition. They believed they were fighting for a nation, a homeland for themselves and their descendants. They fought, they bled, they struggled, they died for us. They built this country for us. America, in all its glory, is their gift to us, handed down across the generations. It belongs to us. It's our birthright. It's our heritage, our destiny. If America is everything and everyone, then it is nothing and no one at all.
Schmidt says immigration threatens the ancient fabric of nations and said the H-1B visa program for skilled foreign workers has kneecapped white-collar workers. His speech was titled, "What is an American?" There's a renewed interest in a local murder case from 1980.
The St. Louis County prosecutor and Ellisville police chief are expected to discuss the murder of a Dairy Queen night manager from 45 years ago. Margaret Maria Walsh was found by the owner. She had been shot in the head. About $125 had also been stolen and the office ransacked. No one has ever been charged in the case, even though it's been reopened several times. KMOX will be at the news conference and we'll have updates for you throughout the morning. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
From the KMOX Business Desk, sponsored by Krenz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. Starting in November, you'll no longer be able to fly Southwest direct from St. Louis to Long Beach, California. Southwest already cut flights to Orange County and will cut its Burbank route in March. The only regular nonstop flight to that area from St. Louis will be straight into LAX. The St. Louis Cardinals took 2 of 3 against the San Francisco Giants. The Redbirds begin a series with the Mariners tonight. First pitch set for 8:40 on 104.1 FM KMOX. We'll check traffic and weather together in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
That baby's gone!
Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season.
Holy cow!
Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts.
How about that play?
Or watch through a TV provider.
Incredible!
Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more.
He got it!
Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! It couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
8:10, you're listening to Total Information AM. We're going to look at some special research coming out of a special pediatric hospital. First, though, a check of the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, they're still working this crash eastbound 64 just before the Boone Bridge. The left lane's still closed. It's a solid jam approaching Winghaven on eastbound 64. Once you get past that point, there's still slow traffic from Spady all the way into Big Bend. Westbound 64, the Science Center to Big Bend, slow. South 170, heavy spots from Olive down to 64. South 270 is cleared out. North 270, still a jam ramping on from 55. We had a minor crash at the end of the ramp. And then it's slow from Sappington to 44 and north of Big Bend all the way to Ladue. Northbound 141, a crash near Gravois Bluffs. It's jammed back through 13th Street. Northbound 55, the right lanes are busy. North of Butler Hill, all lanes. The Union Road overpass up across the river to Pear through Virginia, pretty congested right now as well. And if you're on eastbound Highway 70, it's still slow east of A all the way into TR Hughes and east of 94 through 270. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, plenty of sunshine today, but still a bit on the cool side. We'll have a high of 78. Clear to partly cloudy tonight. It'll be quite cool with a low of 54. Starting to warm up tomorrow, partly sunny with a high of 83. Then mostly sunny and very warm with a high of 89 on Wednesday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is a brisk morning this morning compared to what we've had recently. 54 degrees in Florissant, 49 in St. Peter's and downtown at the Arch. Sunny skies as well. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM this morning here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. St. Louis is home to a very unique children's hospital. It's the Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. The work they do there, now the focus of research, presenting evidence that their model of using play for better health outcomes is effective. That research arm has now published a report in the journal Children. And joining me on the line is Dr. Nick Holkamp, Rankin Jordan Chief Medical Officer and co-author of that paper. Dr. Holkamp, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Good morning, Megan. Thank you for having me.
For our listeners, what makes Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital so unique?
Well, it fills a niche that's not otherwise met within the healthcare community of caring for medically complex children in transition from the acute care setting in our town, Children's Hospital, Cardinal Glennon, and home. And we do so with the focus on letting kids get back to childhood even before they can go home. And the centerpiece of that, as you mentioned, is play. That's the key.
And I've actually had a chance to witness that. I think it was a couple of years ago. I was invited there to watch one of the families and the therapy that happens with the play therapy for their child. So tell us how you quantify that in research.
Well, the first thing we had to do was measure the environment. What's happening for children while they're hospitalized with us? We know generally that kids in acute care hospitals are pretty much in bed, in their rooms, most all of their time. And so we wanted to show how our environment was different and did our first study called the Time Motion Study, where we just watched what kids were doing, who they were with, and where they were to evaluate that, and then developed programs that increased the time kids spent out of bed and with other people and doing fun and developmentally appropriate things. And now our job is to see if that approach, if increasing the time kids are out of bed and doing stuff, which to me is intuitively obvious as a benefit for children recovering from very serious medical circumstances, is of measurable benefit, mostly in terms of developmental progress. That's the real problem for these kids who sit in hospital beds for extended periods. They miss out on those key developmental opportunities that kids not in hospitals have.
So tell us about this first research paper that has been published now in the journal Children.
So that is really a descriptive article with scientific foundation for the benefit of being up and out of bed and socializing and spending more time in child-friendly, child-normal circumstances, especially time with your family in preparation for going home, where the family then will be in charge of the care. So it's describing where kids spend time, the programs that we've added to normalize their circumstances as far as possible in the hospital. I don't know if you've heard of our Oz program, the optimization zone, which is basically a preschool-like setting, a social group function with early childhood educators to really give kids a chance to do that which they would be doing at preschool if they weren't in the hospital. We have art therapy, music therapy. We have a climbing wall and an outdoor wheelchair accessible ball field for bigger kids. So everything that kids not in the hospital would have access to, we try to make possible, while also assuring their safety and not wanting any complications along the way to prolong their stay or cause additional problems. So it's just a description mostly of our care beyond the bedside model.
So much of this relies on your staff, and I watch them work that day. and all the things that they had to do to make sure that a child who was hooked up to several things could get down on the floor and play and experience music and interaction. Talk about how your staff is trained to meet these very unique needs.
Well, you put your finger on it. That's really the key. It is so hard in conventional hospitals to do both, manage the equipment and the safety elements and the infection prevention to keep kids safe. So the fallback alternative is keep kids in the room, in the bed, near their nurse or respiratory therapist, near their equipment. We basically have to take all that with a child wherever they go. I used to say it's like an ICU on wheels wherever the child goes, and that implies extensive training for all the staff members, not just nurses, doctors, and respiratory therapists, but child life therapists and the physical occupational speech therapists, the other care team members who are providing care away from the bedside, extra training, and then also training for family members so they can do that too, which A, gets them more comfortable and prepared to take on the challenges that they'll have to deal with when they are at home, and B, they get to spend time with their child in kid normal settings rather than just in an ICU where these kids often have spent sometimes their whole life to that point if they're born severely prematurely or with lots of complications and spend often months in the neonatal intensive care unit.
I'm speaking with Dr. Nick Holkamp with Rankin Jordan. And, I know that the research department is fairly new to the hospital. And if folks want any more information about that, they can go to rankinjordanfoundation.org. For you, what's your idea for the next research project? Where does this go?
Well, the goal overall is to sort of get the word out. We are a well-kept secret in St. Louis and in the healthcare community. So just to share some of what we've learned and discovered along the way that I think, again, is a little bit of a blind spot in conventional healthcare because mostly kids just go home and they don't have to go through this transition period. So where we can get the word out, share what we've learned, like in this descriptive article, but the two main areas we want to focus on in the near future are the developmental outcomes. So we're working on tools to more finely measure incremental developmental progress for these kids who start out so far behind. And the other area is many of our kids, especially the small children, come to us with tracheostomy tubes, breathing tubes in their neck, and hooked often to ventilators. Can we show that our approach and our model gets these kids off that kind of support, off the ventilator, gets rid of their breathing tube sooner, faster, and get them home sooner and heartier than the alternative of basically sitting in bed waiting to get better?
That is Dr. Nick Holkamp with Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital, the Chief Medical Officer there. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, coming up next on Total Information AM, experts are warning that spending too much time chatting with AI bots may trigger psychosis. And a little bit later on this hour, CBS News military analyst Jeff McCausland will join us in the KMOX studios to talk about the top risks to our national security. And then I'm going to ask him, too, about what it's like to talk to dozens of stations every day. So stay with us here on Total Information AM. We do owe you a check of the roads now with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, good news for eastbound 64 drivers, Megan. This traffic report's a service of the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. They cleared the crash at the Boone Bridge. Eastbound 64, though, is still jammed solid approaching Winghaven all the way into about Highway 94. It's opening up as you get through that stretch, and then you're good to go. Until you get around Lindbergh, at least of Lindbergh through the Big Bend is still slow. Westbound 64, Science Center to Big Bend, still busy. South 170 still bogs down at Olive. South 270 approaching Olive down to Ladue, still busy. North 270, you still have that crash at the end of the 55 merge-on ramp. So the ramp's backed up, but once you get past that point, it's really Big Bend up to Ladue that's the busiest part. They're still working a crash northbound 141 before Gravois Bluffs. Traffic's jammed back through 13th Street. Northbound 55, still slow in the right lanes. Butler Hill up to 270 because of that wreck. And then it's backed up from the Union Road overpass to about Weber and still slow to Virginia. Downtown, we have cleared out westbound at least coming across the Poplar. Are you considering life insurance? Penn Mutual's accelerated client experience makes applying for life insurance fast and easy. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Plenty of sunshine today. It will be a bit cool. I don't think anybody's going to complain about that. A high of 78 degrees. Clear to partly cloudy tonight and cool with an overnight low of 54. Right now, we do have sunny skies, 49 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman here. I have a question for you. Are you in the market for a new car? Let Genesis of St. Charles bring that test drive right to you. They are closer than you think, or you can stop by for exclusive in-store offers. Genesis of St. Charles has the largest selection of new Genesis models in stock, ready for you to drive home. They are the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2025, based on GMA sales records for 2024. Genesis of St. Charles. You can buy online and let them deliver to you, or you can go into 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway in St. Peters off Mid-Rivers Mall Drive and see for yourself. Luxury selection, luxury service. They are Genesis of St. Charles. They're Missouri's first and only standalone Genesis dealership. Genesis of St. Charles, genesisofstcharles.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
Thanks for listening to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch, and with me, Julie Smith, Webster University media instructor, speaker, and author. We're going to talk today about, could using AI chatbots lead to psychotic episodes? Apparently, there is growing alarm about what they call AI psychosis. What is this?
Well, it's not officially a medical disorder yet.
Okay.
I have to throw that yet in. But it is an umbrella term for mental health problems that come about from extensive use of AI and AI chatbots, especially those that we seem to feel like we have relationships with.
What are experts saying about how this starts and kind of the cycle that it turns into for some people?
What they suggest is that once someone starts blurring the line between reality and AI, that's a red flag. If you start to believe that your AI companion actually has emotions, that's a red flag. If you have no critical thought about what the chatbot tells you, or if you're starting to prefer this AI chatbot to an actual human, you might be suffering from this umbrella term, AI psychosis. And some cases even move into paranoia, where they would dive into a lot of conspiracy theories and things like that. The chatbots mimic human, they mimic human speech in a way that it feels like you're talking to a real person. And we have to remember that we're not. And it gets harder and harder as the technology gets better and better.
I can see how someone who is lonely or disenfranchised, or maybe even just starting to do this for some kind of entertainment, could get really sucked into this.
Oh, absolutely. And AI isn't always correct. You know, not enough people talk about that. And I know that there aren't hallucinations like there used to be as the technology continues to improve. But an AI chatbot will always act with authority, even when it's not correct. And that can lead to some real mental health issues too, where you're just not even sure what's real anymore.
Well, and I think the thing that we sometimes forget about because it does use that kind of language is that it doesn't have any kind of human ethic or logic
Or
or
empathy.
filter. Yeah.
Filter or empathy or anything like that. But there's an illusion of connection. And if we are hungry for connection in any form, I can see why this would be attractive. But it's it's the same old story, all things in moderation, right? And if you notice these red flags, it might be a sign that you have a problem.
Is this another one of those areas where we need to really start a greater education campaign for people on how these large language model designs work, how AI really works and is programmed and trained?
And I would also add in any education why they exist and who makes money from it. That's, these AI tools don't exist for public service. They exist to make money for their creators. And I think that if we can help people understand the role they play in the economic structure of all of this, that it might help them detach a little bit and view it all more objectively.
That is Julie Smith, instructor, speaker, and author. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Oh, you bet.
Need some trees for your property? The state of Missouri can help you out. We'll find out more next. It's now 8:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Whether retirement seems really far off in the future or whether it is coming up quickly, no doubt you've thought about it and maybe you have saved some money for it. But if you really want to make sure you're on the right track, you might need to consult a professional. I highly recommend Jeff Sachs and the team at Sachs Financial.
If you are in your 50s and 60s and you've done a good job saving, you need to talk with somebody to help you turn those savings into income.
Because income is the outcome that matters. In your retirement, you need income to live the rest of your life the way you want to. So check in with Jeff Sachs and the team at Sachs Financial to make sure that you have the best plan in place. Are you making the most of the Social Security that's coming in? You can get so much information online at retiresafestl.com. Retiresafestl.com is where to go for Sachs Financial, SACHS, Sachs Financial, simplifying retirement.
Your home equity could vanish almost overnight, stolen by scammers who forge a deed and transfer it out of your name. The FBI calls it house stealing, and the worst part is you may not know it until it's too late. Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO for a 30-day free trial, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now. Promo code RADIO.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res Carpet Cleaners. So I love the fall. As you know, I've been waiting for fall now. It just seems like for so long. Football, back to school, the crisp air, it's a great time to nest. Zero Res is giving you a great fall offer. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Take $75 off your air duct cleaning. These guys have been to my house a dozen times, maybe more than that. I have pets who aren't great at hitting the spot, and so they keep it really clean for me. Maybe you have pets, maybe you have kids, maybe you just have a family. You know how they do damage to those carpets. We also do couches and chairs and hardwood floors. Or if you're a dentist and you have more than 3 rooms, we're going to make you a great DJS deal. Again, 3 rooms of carpet cleaned at $129, $75 off your air duct cleaning. Call 314-474-2020, or you can book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
8:31. Let's get a quick check of the roads now with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
I'm making this traffic report to service of Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty. We still have a jam on eastbound 64. It's jammed east of 364 through to almost Highway K. Then it's just kind of slow to the Boone Bridge from that earlier crash. Still busy from Lindbergh into Big Bend. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker, Big Bend, crowded. Eastbound 70 from east of K through TR Hughes, a little slow. The Blanchette Bridge into 270. South 270, both sides of Oliver busy. North 270, north of 44 up to Ladou's heavy. Northbound 141, a jam from Romaine Creek. Pockets up to Gravois Bluffs from a recent crash. Northbound 55 ramping onto North 270, still working to crash the end of that ramp, and it's backed up. And 55 itself still slow from Bot Bayless all the way up through Virginia. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Sunny and cooler today, a high of 78 degrees. Currently, we have sunshine, 52 degrees downtown at the Arch. Missouri property owners can order seedlings from the state's forest nursery through mid-April. Missouri Net's Sue Davidson found out more from State Forest Nursery Supervisor Mike Fione, who says there's a wide range of species available.
Boy, we got a lot of species. There's 60-some species. Some we do not have because we couldn't get the seed for, like post oak, mulberry, and so forth. So it just depends on what seeds we get in. We try to maintain on some species a 5-year supply just to make sure we can get past kind of the ebb and flow of seed crop production. You know, a good example, last year was a great year for Bur Oak. It was a huge year, and this year it's not as heavy. So usually that's how it flows. So just depending, we try to keep, several year supply. Now the acorns we can only keep for 1 year. So those we are kind of limited on, but things like blackberry, flowering dogwood, your pines and that stuff, we can keep those for multiple years. So we try to keep those on hand just to make sure if we do have a bad seed crop year, we're covered.
And is there a limit to the number of trees and shrubs you can order?
There is. What it does is the system, if you order more than 250 trees of certain species, it goes to the approval category. And once it's in there, I'm the only one that can approve those orders to go on through. We do that for a few different reasons, but yeah, if you're just ordering, 50 trees, 100 trees, that's no problem. But if you want, 500 of a certain species, then the entire order will go to the approval category.
And there are bundles?
Correct. We used to do bundles years ago. They had like the wildlife bundle, the conservation bundle, and so forth. But that was back when the minimum order per species was 25 trees. So the bundles would have anywhere from 5 to 10 trees of different species in them. My predecessor did away with that. They actually went down to where you could order 10 trees at the minimum of the species. So with that, folks could kind of build their own bundles, and so that's why we kind of have shaded away from the bundle selection. But landowners' needs have changed. We no longer have the big ownerships of the several hundred to 1,000 acres. Now it's kind of shifting more toward landowners have maybe 10, 20, 50 acres. And so they don't need that many trees. So this way, by offering the bundles where there's 25 in 3 of the bundles and 1 of the bundles only has 15, it gives them a little bit smaller selection size, but then they get, like the pollinator bundle. So instead of having to look through the catalog and see what species they want for pollinators, it's already spelled out. There's 5 really good species. There's 1 for edible bundles. There's 1 for the wildlife. And then the nut bundle only has 3 species. It's going to be shellbark hickory, walnut, and pecan. And so you'll get 15 trees with that bundle.
That's State Forestry Supervisor Mike Fione. Coming up on Total Information AM, an in-studio visit from CBS News military analyst Jeff McCausland. So stay with us. We've got your money report next.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
8:36, time for your money report, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. Wall Street gets back to business today, and traders are betting that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates at its meeting next week after Friday's weak jobs report. One more key indicator will factor into that decision. The report on retail level inflation will be released this week. The Conference Board's Employment Trends Index, that could get more attention than usual when it's released this morning. It could offer clues to whether hiring will pick up in the months ahead. President Trump wants to find ways of providing more training for American workers. The president told reporters that Friday's immigration raid at a South Korean-owned EV battery factory proves that there's a need for such training. Hundreds of Korean workers who were in the U.S. illegally spent the weekend in custody. They may be able to return home aboard a chartered flight Wednesday. Stocks closed out the week lower. Friday's declines for the major averages ranged from less than 0.1% to 0.5%. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
This is Megan Lynch. Anyone who has ever had to make a hard decision for a loved one with Alzheimer's or dementia knows how difficult this diagnosis is. My husband's family is in the midst of this. They have been working through this with their loved one for years. And it can be pretty challenging sometimes. And that's why I'm part of the St. Louis Walk to End Alzheimer's. It's coming up Saturday, October 25th at Chesterfield Amphitheater and Central Park. Last year, I got to meet so many devoted families that are fighting hard to try to make a difference now for people who are living with this disease and make a difference in the future for themselves and their loved ones. More than 3,500 individuals walked last year, all wearing purple. That's Alzheimer's Association's signature color. It was in honor of loved ones living with or who have passed with Alzheimer's and dementia. And that walk includes a promise garden ceremony. It's really neat. And it's a time when many of these caregivers can actually meet in person. Because if you're a caregiver, you know sometimes that comes with a lot of isolation. So I hope you'll join us for the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's. It is one of the world's largest events to raise awareness for Alzheimer's care and funds for support and research programs. More than $1.3 million was raised last year. I hope you'll join me. alz.org/walk. That's alz.org/walk.
Let me tell you about this new pretzel cheddar club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live, it's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted Best Independent Senior Living Community for 4 years in a row by U.S. News & World Report. We think you'll like it here, and the experts agree. Come see us for yourself. Call to schedule a tour with lunch or to RSVP for our senior prom on September 24th with live entertainment by the Backstreet Cruisers. Find us online at fairwindsriversedge.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
We have sunny skies, 52 degrees downtown at the Arch at 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Jury selection set to begin in the trial of a man charged with trying to assassinate Donald Trump while he played golf last year in South Florida. Mexico's top prosecutor says the government plans to arrest many more people involved in fuel theft networks between Mexico and the United States. And Israel's Supreme Court has ruled the government failed to feed Palestinian security prisoners properly and ordered authorities to improve their nutrition. Coming up, an in-studio visit from CBS News military analyst Jeff McCausland. First, though, we need to get you an update on your ride into work with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got a new trouble spot on eastbound 70 now, Megan. This traffic reports a service of Woodlands of Arnold Senior Living, and that's a crash. It's eastbound 70 just east of 270. The right lane's blocked, so traffic's jammed back pretty close to the Blanchette Bridge. If you're coming in on eastbound 64, there's still a jam. Approaching Winghaven, not quite midway into K. It's slow from K, though, through Research Park because of an earlier crash. Still busy. Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, west of Hampton to Hanley. That's still slow. South 270, Page to Ladou's busy. North 270 from Big Bend to Ladue is still kind of slow. Northbound at 141 Romaine Creek up to 13th Street, but then it clears out. They cleared the crash closer to the Bluffs. The right lane still busy. North of Butler Hill to 270 on North 55 and a couple of slow spots. Bayless up through Virginia. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The Woodlands of Arnold campus offers skilled rehab, a beautiful assisted living community, and a secure memory care to keep your loved ones safe. Check us out at rspseniorliving.com. That's rspseniorliving.com.
It's going to be a sunny day, a bit cool, but we're not complaining. A high 78, clear to partly cloudy tonight and cool with an overnight low of 54. Right now we have sunny skies, 52 degrees downtown at the Arch. Well, we have a special guest in studio this morning. You do hear him on KMOX often. CBS News military analyst, retired Colonel Jeff McCausland. Thank you so much for coming in studio today.
It is a great pleasure to be here at KMOX in the great city of St. Louis. Of course, I was born and raised just north of here, so it's like coming home.
I did not realize that. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in the town of Decatur, Illinois, but spent most of my childhood in Beardstown, Illinois. It's a small town about 90 miles due north of here, along with my three brothers, and two of whom now live here in the St. Louis area. I think they're both listening. I'm going to get my critique sheet from them when I meet them for breakfast later this morning. So I'm here to visit with them, visit with you, and then I got to do a speaking engagement down in the Ozarks later in the week.
I have to tell you, I did not know that we were both born in the same town.
You were born in Decatur?
I'm a Decatur girl as well.
Oh,
and then we moved over near Springfield, Illinois.
Whereabouts?
Chatham.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom still lives in Chatham, just south of Springfield. Yeah. What do you know? It's a small world, isn't it?
It is a small world.
So I do want to talk to you about, some of how you got to be a CBS News military analyst. And then we'll get into some of the meat of some of the things going on in the world right now. But I'm really curious, how did you fall into that role where you're the one we call when we want to know what's happening in Russia and Ukraine and in Iran?
Yeah, I've often said serendipity has ruled my life, and this is certainly an example of that. I was teaching at the United States Naval Academy. I'd retired from active duty, and I was a civilian professor of leadership at the Naval Academy. And in February of 2003, shortly before the invasion of Iraq, my phone rings, and it's some guy in New York at CBS saying, "Hey," he said to me, we think there's going to be a war. And I said, "Man, you're a flipping genius. What was your first clue?" Like 200,000 GIs in Kuwait. And he said, "We're gathering together some experts to provide commentary," and somebody recommended me. And I had to be in New York for another reason the following week. So we chatted. And I said, "Well, I'll come by the studio if you like." And he said, "That'd be great." So there I go. And sure enough, they said, "We want to bring you on board." And so I did that throughout the period of the actual invasion and the immediate post combat. And then I was sitting in New York in May of 2003 when the President Bush gives a speech below the big banner, "Mission Accomplished." I'm sitting there with my producer, and she turns to me and she said, "What do you think is going to happen?" And I said, "Well, I'll tell you, I think it's going to be pretty ugly for a while," never realizing it in my wildest dreams how ugly it would be. And she said, "I think we're right. We're going to get rid of everybody else. We're going to keep you." And now I've been there 22 years. And of course, because this is also based on 30 years in the military and having commanded troops in combat during the Gulf War and all the experience I've had.
So people may not realize we look at a sheet every day and it includes all the top stories, and we can call into CBS and say, "Hey, we want to talk with so-and-so about this story." So that means that not only when we request you, probably there are dozens of other stations that want your time as well. What is that like to go from station to station and probably answer pretty much the same questions over and over again?
Yeah. Well, it can be very hectic depending on what happens. If you get those particular days when something big is going down, you're just going. I mean, I remember like when Osama bin Laden was taken out, I was going like every 15 minutes for like 8 hours. Okay. And then there are days when there are other issues going on. Let's say there's the Los Angeles fires, which obviously is a topic that I don't know anything about. And for the number of days, I'll do almost nothing. So it can be pretty doggone hectic, and it demands a lot of time for you to prepare and make sure you're up to speed on what's going on, number one. And number two, I try to remind myself, every person, you're right, a lot of people ask pretty much the same questions, but every person who's listening is hearing it for the first time. So I owe it to them to do the best I can in delivering that and giving my best analysis. In fact, how this all started, it's funny. When I did my first interview, I can remember distinctly what was happening. I was in Annapolis because I was teaching the Naval Academy, and I was sitting at a bar having a beer. And I was really kind of depressed. This may sound silly. I was depressed because I had just recently retired from active duty. And here I am. And I'd been in, the Gulf War, and I'd been to Bosnia, and I'd been to Kosovo, and I'd been to Salvador, and I'd been to all these places. And now you're like the fire horse that doesn't get to pull the wagon anymore. And I knew a lot of my buddies were there. And I was really kind of depressed. And I remember thinking to myself, by serendipity, my responsibility now is to try to explain these very complex topics to the American people in as concise and a clear fashion as I can. So my first interview I did sitting at the bar drinking a beer. Thinking that along the way.
What I've always noticed about our discussions when you come on KMOX is that you stick to the facts, you stick to your base of knowledge, and you don't get into politics. Is that something you decided on early on?
Yeah. I mean, my job is I am an analyst. And I really get upset when people say, well, you're a pundit. No, I'm not a pundit. A pundit has a perspective. I'm an analyst. I think I'm a big baseball fan, as we talked. And I think of myself as an umpire. I'm calling balls and strikes. You may not like my strike zone. That's fine. And we can talk about that. But I'm calling balls and strikes, and it's based in fact and analysis. Okay. And the political part of that does get in there because it shapes the conversation to a degree. But I'm not an advocate for any political party. In fact, I make a real severe personal effort. I don't donate money. I'm not a member of any political party. And I think that's one of our responsibilities in the news, to be, the honest broker in telling the stories, whatever they are, based on factual analysis.
Well, I want to get into some of the stories. We need to take a quick break, and then we'll be back, and we'll talk about some of the current headlines that the Colonel can talk to us about. It's now 8:48.
I'm Scott Jagow. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Backyards aren't just for summer, and if you would like to make your outdoor space something that you can use year-round, call Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. Of course, they build fences and they do a great job with decks, but they also can transform your outdoor space into something that is wonderful 12 months out of the year. Whether it is a custom sunroom, a screen room, a patio, a pergola, a big fire pit, the pizza of who knows, whatever you have planned, Chesterfield Fence and Deck will do an incredible job. And when I say it's the sign you have the very best, it's because they always use the highest quality products and the best installation teams with years of experience. And they stand behind everything they do, as they've been doing for 57 years as a third-generation local family-owned company. You can go to chesterfieldfence.com or visit them in the Chesterfield Valley and browse through their beautiful showroom. Mention me, Debbie Monterrey, and they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing. chesterfieldfence.com.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are visiting with Dr. Premal Thacker.
And we're very fortunate at Washington University School of Medicine and Siteman to have the only endometrial cancer spore. So we are actually doing a $15 million grant that is housed here under Dr. Much to actually evaluate uterine cancer.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, please visit siteman.wustl.edu.
It's back, and you're invited to join us in Forest Park, September 19th and 20th, for the 53rd Annual Great Forest Park Balloon Race Weekend, presented by PNC Bank. Attendance is free, and the number of memories and photos you can capture is endless. Special thanks to New Ground International and Blue Moon Brewing Company. The 53rd Annual Great Forest Park Balloon Race Weekend. For more details, visit the events page at KMOX.com.
You are back with Total Information AM here on KMOX, and we are back with CBS News military analyst, retired Colonel Jeff McCausland. We were visiting some moments ago about how he actually got into this work of analysis. So let's let him do his job now. I have a number of questions for you. One of those is about the National Guard. Obviously, we are watching with anticipation to see what happens in Chicago, because there is a continuing threat of the president sending the National Guard into Chicago. And one of the things I've heard people say is this is not really what these men and women are trained for.
Absolutely correct. I mean, the National Guard is trained for 3 missions. One is combat. As we speak, my nephew is a major Wisconsin National Guard, and he is in Kuwait on a deployment. So they prepare for those type of deployments. Second thing that the National Guard is trained for is humanitarian assistance after a big disaster. Think the fires in Los Angeles, for example. And the third thing is crowd control, large-scale crowd control if there is a major social unrest. I can remember as a child, the active military and National Guard going in Detroit and Newark after the assassination of Martin Luther King, when there was vast social unrest. Rodney King riots in Los Angeles, vast social unrest. But they're not trained for law enforcement. And furthermore, legally, they cannot perform law enforcement when the National Guard is activated by the federal government. Now, the governor of an individual state can call up, again, let's say there's a natural disaster, and call up the Guard, and the Guard can do law enforcement when under the control of the governor. But when put under the control of the federal government, as the president has proposed to do and has done in Los Angeles, that's quite different. Now, there is one exception to that, and that, of course, is Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, that's a separate federal entity. The legal provisions for that are under what's called the Home Rule Law, and the president has greater discussion there. But they're not trained for, nor, my read, are they legally allowed to do that. And, finally, when you talk about the legality for a moment longer, this is an American tradition. If you go back and read the Declaration of Independence, you will find a listing Thomas Jefferson crafted of all the reasons why we were going to separate from Great Britain. Well, why are we doing this? That's what the Declaration of Independence is all about. And about 5 or 6 of the reasons we're going to leave Great Britain is the king had used the royal army against the citizens, us. That's why we left. And this is why Americans don't like this. And of course, that's encapsulated further in 1879 with the Posse Comitatus Act, which forbids federal forces from performing law enforcement.
When we look at other issues going on around the world, we talk to you a lot about our relationship with China, Taiwan, Russia, Ukraine, Iran, Israel, the Palestinian people. What for you right now do you feel like is the most critical national security issue facing the United States?
Well, you got to focus on Ukraine. And the reason you have to focus on Ukraine is, of course, it's an ongoing conflict and literally thousands of people are being killed and injured. And furthermore, the Russians describe the war in Ukraine as a war with the West, in which they say the Ukrainians are a pawn. And any kind of combat like that involving the Russian Federation, which has 1,500 to 2,000 or more strategic nuclear weapons, is one you got to keep your eye on. That's a focal point for obvious reasons. And we have been lucky, or we have been strategic, choose your verb, choose your adjective, in that has not escalated into a major conflict or confrontation between the United States and the Russian Federation in the last 3 years. But we can't be lulled into a false sense of security that could not, in fact, happen. So all those things are concerning. That one concerns me the most because of what would happen if it escalated. But we got our plate full right now between the war in Gaza. Yes, we conducted this military mission to set back the Iranian nuclear program, which was an amazing military operation. But I always used to say from my time working in the Pentagon and working in the White House, the one question that's most infrequently asked in Washington, D.C. is, and then what? And then what? Okay, we did that. Okay, and then what? What are you going to do now? You want to go back and do that every 6 months or so to make sure do you want to invade a country of 90 million people? We invaded Iraq. That was kind of hard. Iran would be a lot worse. So those kind of things worry me as well. But because of that possible confrontation with the Russians, Ukraine is one I keep my eye on.
One last question for you, and this is about the military parade that the Chinese government had. It was very fascinating to see some of the technology that they have put together, but I kept hearing people say, well, it's untested in combat. What was that and what should we take from that display?
Well, the first thing we should take from that is, remember, it's for domestic consumption primarily, okay? When the Communist Party of China celebrated their 75th anniversary, they would talk about how Mao Zedong had brought China unity, and Deng Xiaoping had brought China economic prosperity, and Xi Jinping had brought China strength. And this is a demonstration of strength and manpower and parades and soldiers and airplanes and drones. So it shows massive Chinese capability. That's for the external audience, but there's a strong internal audience. Second, it showed unity of purpose. Who was there? Well, you have Kim Jong-un from North Korea is there, and you got Putin there, and we're showing this dramatic unity of these three guys and their countries, the so-called axis of upheaval, which is worrisome. The last thing I took away from it was heretofore, and the Chinese have always had parades, and so do the North Koreans, but the technology, I would argue, were sort of carbon copies of what we had produced in the West, whether it was fighter planes or tanks or whatever it was. This was a little different because it shows the Chinese as an advanced industrial society, now showing an awful lot of creativity and a lot of advanced technology. So it's not all mimicry. My example, which I thought was kind of silly, but they had it out there on parade, was they had a robot wolf they were going to integrate in the. And I thought, okay, but this is more of a demonstration of now more a bit of creativity than just copying what we do here in the West.
That is CBS News military analyst, retired Colonel Jeff McCausland. I'm sorry, our time has come up. I understand that you're going to stick around and talk with Chris and Amy next. So good to have you here in studio today.
My great pleasure.
On the Chris and Amy show, Colonel Jeff McCausland will stick around a little bit longer and talk with us today. We've got Chris Saliza on the show as well, and we'll discuss the Cardinals and the start of the NFL season with Matt Pauley. That's all coming up today. We get started right after the news here on KMOX.